Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first, oh my gosh, the inaugural episode of WUFO East Coast. Adler is dancing.
Yes, it's very exciting. We
just
can actually be awake for this.
I know, right? So is 10 o'clock like good? Is this a good time to start? I was like, how cool is it that we can actually start during like the OG WUFO time?
Yeah.
Right. And then by
midnight.
Yeah. And like by the time the guys finish their show, it'll be 10 o'clock. So it's like everyone gets that original WUFO experience that we intended. And I love it. What's the thought? Kai's here. Hi, Kai. I'm excited to see you in a little while. I'll wait until a couple more folks roll in to do all the rigmarole announcements. But I went to this super cute, it's like a peddler's mall kind of. It's called a vendor's village, but it's like, you know, all of the booths are different people's, and it was so cute, but like the vibes were wild. Like they decorated the front really beautiful, and it's just like apartment goals for me.
Yes.
And like get out of here. They had puffy clouds on the ceiling of the lobby. So cute.
I want that.
And like look at my like dream living room. It's perfect. And they had like 4 or 5 arcade games that were free to play. Like they had Mortal Kombat and like Donkey Kong and stuff for free.
And you're telling me you left there?
I spent like 2 hours there, of course. But like it was so funny because we were like joking. We were like, as soon as 7 o'clock started, they started announcing like we will be closing at 8 o'clock. Like every 5 minutes, it was like, hey, we're closing. And we're like, we know.
They know you'd never leave.
I know, and it's like it was like scary how like targeted I felt from their like little lounge is what it was called. I was like, this is exactly how I want my apartment to look. Oh no. I should just live here.
I think so. Just hide. Just see how long you can live there.
Oh, I was telling, I feel like we should like get a booth or something to see if we have after hours access. like that's our rent.
Fully support. No. Say kidding now.
I know, right? We got some people in the chat. Hi, Christine. Hi, David. Hi, Kiki, Ashley, CJ, Jenny. So while we're on the topic of this store, let me just show you guys these finds really quick, and then we can get into like your regular WUFO content.
Is that not thrift finds and eating donuts? Because I feel like that.
I know, right? Where is SJ? SJ and AP need to be here to see this donut experience right now. Oh my gosh. What kind of donut is that?
It's a maple.
Ooh.
It's very good. Oh
my gosh. Okay. So, like, obviously, when I go to thrift stores, what do I look for the most? I want people to guess. Because it's probably pretty easy. Cameras. I found 2. They were like, okay, but there were like 50 on the rack. And I actually used judgment to not buy every single one. So I'm really proud of that. But Cliffy picked this one because like it like I think I needed, oh no, I did it. Okay. I thought I needed him to show me how to do it again. But it like it's like a butterfly knife but a camera.
Bex is coming at you.
That was the energy I was bringing in today.
Shows violence.
This is a 110 camera. How cool. It has its own case. Okay, it's hot. I got a sunburn I'm trying to hide. Well, it's out. Okay. This was $5, by the way. And this is 7, but it's a little weirdo and I like him. They're both, so that's 110 film, which is like a little roll spindle, and then this is 35. And it's like Imperial, which I haven't really heard of, but it's an Insta Cube. And then I found this bookshelf that like very clearly is ran by a witch. All of the books were like astrology, palm reading, Sabbath, almanac, and I was like, this is what I need to find my next book. So I found this gem, Personal Mythology,
Ooh.
The Psychology of Your Evolving Self, using ritual, dreams, and imagination to discover your inner story. How cool is that?
I love that.
And it's like written by a bunch of PhD folks. So we'll see what those smarties have to say.
Bunch of nerds.
Oh my goodness. There's like some underlined and highlight stuff, and you're like, I'm gonna like get like the insider scoop. Like, core is highlighted, so that's important.
Oh my god.
So what have you been up to today?
Well, I have been procrastinating because I feel like most people know this, but I'm in a PhD program and my candidacy comes up in about 2 months. And so I have to write a big thing in about 3 weeks. And so today I didn't want to write. My boss left for a conference, so I organized 50 papers that I have to read. So I have like 6 stacks of like, this is hydrothermal vents. This is about nickel. This is about magnesium. This is the math behind fluid flow. So I just stacked them nicely and then I left. I was just like, not today. Not today. I cannot be expected to be smart today.
Cannot today, no.
I literally opened one paper and I was like, oh, this is going to be great because it had everything I needed. And then it showed me like 6 more things that I didn't know I need to know. And then it was like, oh, you know what I have to relearn is biochemistry. You know what I never wanted to revisit?
Biochemistry, oh no. Say no.
Never say never, because I literally was like, I'll never study biochemistry, inorganic chemistry, or kinetics ever again. And guess what I'm doing completely? Like, guys, this is rough.
Well, Kai says that still counts as working on the thing. So
thank you. Thank you.
You guys see all the knots in my hair. I don't know.
Perfect. Also, I saw that Otis popped in here. Otis is awesome. I met them at St. Augustine. So.
Oh my gosh! Yay! I think I saw Otis on Twitter right before then. Perfect.
Yes, Otis is amazing. So, hello, Otis. I love you. I miss you.
Oh my gosh, we love it. I loved hearing about your trip and stuff last week. That was a really fun WUFO. I think we still have it up to if folks want to still check it out last minute before we make it Patreon only. Shout out. Okay. We have some like general housekeeping that we always do. I'll kick it off. I'm sure that the guys are gonna do it over again as well. But tonight's fund, as always, can be located, by going to wufo.watch/donate, and it will take you to this page. It is a PayPal. It's a mutual aid, and it's who is basically distributing meals as well as winter clothing and basic hygiene supplies for the houseless. And they their whole Twitter page is just that. So if you want to follow them and support them in general, their username is at within adequacy. Within adequacy, this is them. But I mean, they are just constantly doing really good work. And then like the actual, okay, it looks like the actual official group page is Portland Land and Bread with Jed at Landbread PRTLND, and that is Portland, Maine. That's the page. So all you got to do if you want to donate, if you are able to, wufo.watch/donate will take you there. Excuse me. And then I think as far as like tonight, we are going to be hanging out, Adler and I, until about 10:50 or so, and then we're going to have a brief intermission, and we'll come back right around 11 o'clock Eastern with Garrett, Jeremy, Kai, Jensen, and Emily Hoffman. And we'll all be doing like our live contact session together. That'll be a fun little experiment. And then we'll have another like little brief intermission after that, potentially, and the four of them will take it over. So it'll be fun. And this is how we're going to be doing this from now on. So very excited. You know, we've talked about it in the past, like, oh, we need to find a way to get the East Coast folks more involved, make it more accessible for them, because it's just so hard. I know that Jenny is one who's definitely been like, I really want to watch, I really want to participate, but I work. So yes. But I have some interesting UFO reports that have just come in from the area I'm kind of hanging at tonight. I am just outside of Louisville, Kentucky. Spent a lot of time here. And as I'm scrolling through like the New Fork database, all of the typical databases that I look for, like my night drift liminal report material, I found quite a bit of reports from Louisville. And so I would love to read some of those if we're ready to get into it. That sounds good. Okay. So the first one is from July 13th. Gonna click on it. Ooh, it has a picture. So this happened at 9:23 a.m. It was in Louisville, Kentucky, and the shape of the craft was a circle. It was in their line of view for about 10 minutes. The characteristics were there were lights on the object. So their official description is two orbs, one higher up, both alternating, flashing bright white light in 2-second intervals. Clear blue sky, other aircraft in the area of planes at their level, and jets much higher up. Orbs about the helicopter size. They stayed in the same spot without wind shifting them or their movement. Unusual to see this in the airspace. I took a phone photo. They vanished instantly from the same spot. I've lived here for 2 years. Odd stuff. So the orbs are very hard to make out in the photograph. I'll try to zoom in here as much as possible, but reflections abound. And I can also, what I can do is I can save this and I can just tag WUFO. Yeah, that's what I'll do. We'll talk about it after on Twitter, y'all.
No, everybody just get like this close to your screen, you know, just like.
Yes. Okay. So just like a week before then, on July 9th in Louisville. So this one was interesting because it only lasted 2 seconds. Now this one comes to us around 10:45 p.m. They categorized the shape as light. The characteristics were there were lights on the object. The object made a sound, but it was like the light had encapsulated it. So we saw it through our house. It was a huge light there for only a few seconds, and it was like a cream color of light. We didn't see an object exactly, but it was this light in the clouds that went on for a little too long to be lightning, but it had a similar effect. Either it was so bright at first, we heard sounds of light thunder, but we checked the weather. There's a clear sky. There's no signs of thunder nor rain. It sounded like a rolling trash can times a million. It was loud. It wasn't fireworks that caused the noise, as it was happening in milliseconds. But I looked out of the blinds, boom, big flash of light. said, I'm convinced maybe it was a UFO. It was so bright and big, not small. It was huge, like huge. So we got the specification here.
Like huge. It's a metric unit. Very scientific.
We're just talking about the importance of like repeating words for emphasis. Huge. Like,
Huge.
Ba ba. Yes, exactly. But of course, a week before that, there's another one, so a little over a week, on June 29th. Now, this is a triangle. We all know and love the triangle craft, and this is at about 12:30 a.m. The duration of the experience was about 30 seconds or so. Characteristics were lights on an object made a sound. Looks like low, slow flying triangle with red and white lights pulsating irregularly, and had light humming sound barely heard. This craft was large, triangular, and low flying. The noise was unlike anything I've ever heard. I had just walked outside for no reason, feeling like I needed to look up, and saw it. Weirdest encounter and feeling I've ever had. After it flew from north, crossing the Ohio River, it flew south in no hurry, much slower than a plane, and all of a sudden made a swooshing noise and I didn't see it anymore. Very odd. And it was one of those things you just know is not a normal occurrence. Kind of hard to explain the feeling, but it was surreal. And I like that they touch on a few things that we in like the weird strangeness community kind of know about these reports. The feeling that you get of like, I don't know why, but I feel like I need to look up. That's happened, and you know, I know a lot of people in the community have also felt that feeling. It's very shark like, ooh, what is that? But then also the feeling of like, I know that this was a very surreal feeling, like the feeling of oddness, the feeling of like, this is different, this is unique. Very cool. Very cool. Kiki says it's what happened when she saw a UFO September 2021. Yeah, I would love to hear in the comments if folks have ever experienced that too, like either that feeling of like, oh, I need to look up and you see something, or having experienced a phenomenon like that and just left feeling surreal. I say like with any greater paranormal experience, I often am felt like that. Yeah, so I'm curious, Adler, if you have anything like that.
I mean, I think that because I haven't had like an in-person UFO experience. You know, I have all the weird dream stuff, but like I was saying about like the St. Augustine stuff, it was like I was saying, it's like, well, I felt like if I looked there, I would see something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like, I feel like I have to look there. And even Tenny was saying he said, you know, like notice, he was watching where people would look, because it might mean that like there actually is something over there. Like we're not just looking over there necessarily for no reason, right? Like maybe there is something there and we're like, oh, we need to look over there. So it's an interesting thing and like creepy, but like that sort of feeling of oddness, I've had that in dreams. So like I understand that part of it.
The dream thing is real, man. And like,
I hope it's not real.
Not that kind of, well, I mean, I don't know, Adler. It's interesting though, because I feel like I've had 2 potential UFO experiences. Yeah, I guess so. One was I was driving in like the backwoods of southern Indiana, and I was returning from like a baby shower, and it was like had just turned dark. I was driving by like a cow field of all things, right? And I just saw something like blast in and like hover over the field for a second and then shoot off. And I remember like seeing like a circle with lights, and I just thought it was really wild. But the interesting thing is my mom was with me, and my mom and I both had like a whole conversation about it. And so I know that I wasn't the only one, you know, who had seen it, and we were kind of cracking jokes all night of like, what if they stole a cow kind of thing. And I know that sounds like, well, you know, of course, but that's what happened. So
oh my god, I love it.
Right. Second one, you know, a little less credible. I was in like the backwoods of Indiana again, but it was with my buddy, and like we, you know, we're teenagers, and we like, you know, went to a lot of house parties and things. And I think that we were like with a group of people we had just left. We were all heading home, and it wasn't a cow field. It was just like I think a cornfield or something. But similar experience where something kind of whooshed by, hovered for a second, and then whooshed off. Except that time it was just one big bright light instead of like a ring of lights. But I remember all of us freaking out and being like, did we just see a UFO? No one's going to believe us because we like you know, it was wild. So those, you know, but those were both so long ago. And every time I look up at the sky now, like I was looking up last night, and I saw the Milky Way, and I was in like such a remote place, and I was just like, come on, like of all the time, this is perfect. Yeah, I'm sure we all feel that way though. That's like why we're all, part of the reason we're probably all here is like we're all just pushing and being hopeful.
Yeah, literally me from like a small age. I would literally sit when I had like my own window. I'd lay in bed and look at my window like over the Rockies, and I would just sit there and be like, come on, come on, come on. Because my uncle was like, there are UFOs that fly over, and he would show me like pictures of huge triangles and, you know, different lights. He's like, oh yeah, they fly over like where you live all the time. And I'd be like, what? He's like, yeah, just look up. And I was like, okay. I never saw them.
So your uncle has like a UFO photo database? Like, is that what you're telling me, Adler?
I like am now. It's like I should just email the man. Like,
absolutely.
That's what I'm gonna do. The thing about these people is, so they're not actually my aunt and uncle, but they're sort of like family best friends. So they're my aunt and uncle. But they travel around the world. So I don't know where they are right now, but they're not in America. They'll just like send us a postcard and they're like, we're in Africa, we're in Antarctica, we're actually, you know, in the whatever Siberian wilderness for 3 days or something. Like they just are gone.
Yeah.
They've been literally to every continent. And so they're not around very much. But I don't know why that has just occurred to me. Be like, hi, Lewis. Can I?
These things work. Like a lot of just come up in conversation. Like it's hard to just like access all of that, all of the files all the time, you know? Like if something has to like trigger it. It's like I'll smell something and be like, oh yeah, I have an uncle at UFO database. Smells like his carpet. You know? That's how it works. I don't know. That's how it works though, you know?
Oh my God.
Yes, if anything develops from that, please let us know here.
Oh, of course.
You are the co-host of WUFO East Coast, so I feel like this is a little bit of a duty now. No big deal.
Like, it's in your job description to ask your uncle, not uncle, about his UFO sightings over Colorado over the past.
Okay, but like I get the uncle, not uncle thing. Because like we went to like my hometown last night, like the first childhood home I had before we bought the farm was like the first like 8 years or so of my life, but I remember a lot of it. And it was in Mitchell, Indiana, and we drove by like my childhood home, and it was cute, but I have a lot of vivid memories of this like blue and pink Victorian house where like my parents' best friends, Mark and Teresa, used to live. And so they were like my aunt and uncle, Mark and Teresa. And then they had a little daughter as well. So we were about the same age. It was perfect. I can't remember her name though. But I remember like the whole layout out of the house. I remember the, you know, massive hand-carved mahogany curved staircase that goes up to, you know, the attic, and the red carpet on it, and the stained glass window and everything. And so, you know, after we leave like this festival we were at, we go check it out. And I posted pictures of it in my Instagram story. But it's like in complete shambles now. And it's like no trespassing, and like a window's missing, and from like the top. And, you know, I was just thinking about you know, one, like how these people are like family, and I haven't heard from them forever, but then I wish that I had a way to contact them because I wanted to share how much I love this house and like how, you know, is this like at all repairable? Like this is my dream house. Like this is so sad to see. Yeah, but we found mushrooms outside of the lawn, so it was great.
Yes.
Oh my
Oh my
goodness.
God.
But I totally get what you mean about like the family, not family. They're family. If you want them to be. If
Oh yeah.
not,
No, they definitely are. But it's, you know, it's like they are like, they were our vets and like they're around. I need to email. Like I don't have a phone number. I have to email these people.
you're like, oh, I have to check the postcard that they sent me last. Where is that?
Exactly.
I kind of want to be that person though. That's like, I communicate by a postcard.
Oh my God.
Love it.
Listen, with the like how long it takes me to respond to people sometimes.
It's hard out there, man. It's sometimes it's so overwhelming to like open a message.
It's just too much.
It's just how it is. Sometimes it's just anxiety.
And some people even like in the chat have like sent me physical mail, but you know you'll get mail back. It's just
I love it though. I love the idea of like you receiving all of these postcards. But you have like an awesome collection. I have some from all my travels and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll like totally send these to people. And then like the last place I want to go when I travel is the post office. So I just have all of these blank postcards.
Yep. I have a bunch from the Flatwoods Monster area that
oh my gosh.
I didn't mail.
It's hey, listen, we do the best we can.
No, we're here.
Today I met one of his friends and like we like ran into each other at the like Peddler's Mall, right? And we get on the topic of Hopkinsville, and I think it was because they're like, oh, you know, where are you staying? And I was like, oh, you know, and they bring up the Kelly Greenman Festival, and I'm like, yeah, I know about that. Like, are you kidding? Like, and I'm like, do you know the story behind it? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So we talked about like the Kelly Greenman like for a while, and it was so cool to just like talk to someone outside of like the community about it and them know all about it and then like talk so highly of the event. Like, oh, you know, this was such a cool experience. Like it was very funny, it was very cute, but it was also very informative. Like they just loved it. And I'm like, this is great. I just love that that's like the reputation that Hopkinsville is developing now. Oh my gosh, I know that you drove through there to get to me.
Yes.
Away from where I stay right now. So I remember like getting a text. You were like, excuse me, you didn't tell me anything.
I literally had no idea. That whole road trip, that's exactly what it was. It was just like I'd be driving and then I would like recognize a road sign and it'd be like, am I actually near that place? Like when I was driving up to Michigan, it was like, why do I recognize the name Jenkins? And then I like looked on my phone and it was like, oh yeah, Hellier's like 10 minutes away. And it was like, okay, I guess I'll take a break and get a coffee at the gas station in Hellier. And then, like on the way down, and it was the anniversary of the Hopkinsville Goblins incident.
Oh, yeah.
And I was driving and I was like, you didn't tell me that there was Hopkinsville. And then you were like, did you know it was the anniversary today? And it was like,
yes. What? Was that a missed opportunity for us? Should I have just met you there? It's not like we can go do anything though. Like the house doesn't exist there.
Exactly.
And, like, we don't bother people or trespass. So it's
you know
like,
what? We had our own, you know, weird experience with that man in the night.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. Oh my
that
gosh.
True goblin.
Oh my gosh, we encountered a drunk lake goblin. That was so scary. Okay, so I'll tell the story. It just added.
Like, just don't tell the story. Just
Let go my bye.
Screen fades to black.
Oh my god. They're like, t-shirt. Okay, so we had like been hanging out. We were like goofing off and being cute and being best buds, and then we were like, let's go get luggage. Adler needs to get cozy, let's do it. So we go out to Adler's Jeep, and it's like not far from the house, it's just parked like at the beginning of the driveway, and we're there for a minute. We're like goofing off, we're like giggling and like talking about your bumper stickers and things. Like, you know, and then this like person in a mule, like one of those like little off-road vehicle things, pulls up, and he like gets out, and he's like this older gentleman, but it was so dark, like I couldn't like tell his features, I couldn't like tell like what state he was in, and he said, "What are you doing?"
I literally, because I was like, this is a backcountry area. I'm like, I'm from a small town. So I was like, no, this has to be some weird drunk neighbor that you know, right? So I just was like in my car, and I just looked at Bex. And she just goes, I don't know you.
And then he says, well, I know your husband. And I said, well, I'm not married. So try again.
And then he's like, go tell him I'm out here.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, so me and my cousin are like 5 inches apart. Like, we do not look alike. We I'm not this person. But I guess to a drunk person, like whatever. So he's like, well, go get him for me. And we just turn around. We start like power walking to the door. We're like, don't look back, don't look back. And like, I get inside, and like, everyone's asleep, right? So I'm like, hi, I'm so sorry. Gotta wake you up. And they don't know who it is. So I'm like, well, there's a guy. So I'm like, tell him that it is unacceptable to sneak up to 2 young people at night and just talk to them like in the dark. And we're like stargazing and shit too. Like, it was like a vulnerable moment in our yard. So yeah, it was wild. But like, Donnie ended up knowing him, and it was fine, but he was very drunk, and they were like, how did he not die like driving the mule? So that's great, that's good for us. That's Kentucky for you, though. Lakeside community, Kentucky, that's pretty much what you get. But he is our lakeside goblin, and Donnie chewed him out, so we're good. But haven't seen him since.
Oh my god.
But we were ready to fight.
I literally was just like, who is this man? That's our true goblin.
I forgot about that. That's so wild. Definitely not okay, but like, we're laughing about it now. But we had fun like that next day too. Like, we like went all over LBL. Oh my gosh, and you got to see the nature station that my cousin works at. And you got to touch a snake.
I did get to touch a snake. I was so excited. Also, Maestro's staring at me now. He's probably gonna attack my foot. But yes, I got to touch a snake. I was so happy.
Is he like photo shy? Camera shy?
No, he's just, let me see if I can grab him. He's all stretched out on the carpet.
God. I love him. I love him so much. I'm just being selfish. I just want to see him.
Well, I like to, torture him.
Okay, great. I'm glad that this way.
Oh, you're feisty.
We're getting a pet cam, y'all. You're welcome. Oh my gosh, look at this boy.
Say hi.
He's so cute. Look at your son. Oh my god. That is the cutest little thing I've ever seen in my life.
He's literally crazy right now.
You're so cute. Oh my god. Haley is in the chat.
Yes, your Aunt Haley is here.
Yes. Maestro has fans. Look at that kitty boy. Oh my god.
He's the true gremlin. Okay, He's gonna attack my leg now. I know it.
I know. Tyson, so big. Yes. So big. I don't remember the little floof.
It's ridiculous because he still seems so small. Like, it's still like, okay, he's a kitten, right? Because he's only 6 months old now. But like, when we first met him, he was like, you could hold him in one hand. And then when we brought him home, he was like this big. Like, I was scared because I thought he would like get lost in the apartment. He was so little. I was like afraid.
Right.
And so now he's like the size where I'm not afraid, but like he's so big. He's so big. He likes to grade chemistry homework, so I've been sending his pictures to my students too.
Oh my gosh. I'm sure that is the best thing ever. That's like what I would want to see, like working hard on that homework.
Right. I was like, sorry if you have holes in your homework. This is why.
I don't think they probably burn it after. Well, no, after they use it for study at the end, I guess. But
no, I burned it when I took that class.
Would burn mine, so it's just the release.
I don't think I own a single paper from my chemistry undergraduate degree.
No, the only things I kept were like a lot of those like loose leaves and things that I put in a binder that like were just like, oh, like got things to remember and a lot of guides, but like no, I'm not reading like none of my ecologies. I'm like, I'm not gonna do that, And I think I have like one photography binder, but that's it. Like,
oh my god, I kept every exam for a while, and then I got into grad school, and now it's like, well, I know it or I don't, so I don't know where they all went.
You'll smell, someone's drapes and be like, I remember this entire class now.
Oh my god, yeah, just like suddenly remember some thermodynamic equation from whenever the hell.
Exactly, though.
Google's great. I don't care what anybody says. Google is so great, especially for like chemistry. So
especially, man, okay, I'm so jealous of like people who get to just enter like high school and college now in this era, because there are so many apps that will like do math equations for you and show you the work, and like, oh, like there's Sparks notes on every book now, and like it's so beautiful. I really struggled, and I was going to school, like finishing up my first round of college when that stuff first started like getting better. But I'm just so jealous of people now.
Yeah. But also, like, I was that bitch who, like I got a math minor, and even when I was in there, like, you could just have, like, Wolfram Alpha, like, do your calc homework or your differential equations. And I was like, no, I'm going to do it all out by hand. Because I was just that, person.
I find that, like, it helps stick if you do it all by hand. It's like writing anything down. For me, like I did better at like pre-calc and stuff when I would handwrite everything out. That's how I remember the formulas and everything. So write it over and over again. So that's how it works.
Yeah, this comment. I really wish that academic papers were more accessible, though. Got to steal my friend's JSTOR to read things. Yeah. They just aren't accessible, and it's really great because some of them aren't even accessible to like me. Like, whoa. Yeah, so like there are certain things, and they're like, your university doesn't pay us for this, so you can't access it. So you can pay $40 for this article, and it's like, I will never pay you $40. Like, no, I just won't. So
you're not paying me like a livable wage, so what's not even
I literally qualify for food stamps, but I'm not allowed to get food stamps because like I have student loans.
Because that makes all the sense in the world.
It makes so much sense, and I'm also not allowed to get a second job. So you know what I mean? I can't afford to pay for papers. I'm not going to. At that point, it's irrelevant to my research, even if it's like the most relevant thing ever. But you never should pay for any articles. You can. There's some like pirating websites. I forget what they're called. Somebody knows them. Literally never pay. You can Yeah, go. That's what I was just gonna say. Is like you can go to a library, you can find other websites. Literally, if you just like click around, if you post, like if you copy paste the scientific paper, you can find exactly like on a public site. Like you can just click around. Papers are posted all over on the internet. So just find. There's usually one that's public. So just like get around, and then you can also email people like me. If you know somebody in academia, or like a librarian, or something like that, like a lot of times they will have access or know someone with access, or just email the authors. So
I was gonna say, reach out to all of the authors of like your favorite academic books and texts, like a lot of for mycology stuff, especially mushroom friends. Listen, a lot of those authors, especially like the PhD dudes, they will answer your emails in like 12 hours. And one guy in particular, I wanted this book called The Fifth Kingdom. I'm slipping his name right now, so forgive me on that end. But I just emailed him. I was like, hey, like, I know that I have this edition. There's a new edition that's coming, that just came out. I can't afford it. It's like, this is a textbook. I got mine super used. There is an edition in the back that talks about how to become a mycologist and like, steps from someone who's done it. Like, and I really would like this chapter. What can we do to just like, can I have a peek, or like, not necessarily that, but just like, what can I do to maybe have access to these resources? And he straight up just sent me the PDF for like the whole chapter. No problem. It was like, and if you want any others, like, go for it.
It's literally how they work. Like I have like a whole section of some math textbook that I need to study, but that a lab mate got from a random math professor. Actually, the math professor that Garrett knows at FSU.
Oh, yes.
So anyway, from that man, my old lab mate, she was going to take the class. She's like, well, I don't know if I'm going to take the class. And he's like, well, what do you do? And she told him, what she does. And he was like, oh, here's this whole chapter, like on all the math behind that. And like the book is, it's a math textbook, so it's got to be at least $300. And he's like, here, he just printed out for her and just like handed it to her. So now I have it. But like these people would just be like, here it is.
Yeah. I had to save that. I had to put that up. Oh my goodness.
Don't pay for that shit. Science, like, it's hard enough to read. You shouldn't have to pay to read it. So.
This makes me like, I'm curious if there's been like any of those types of dudes who like author all of these beautiful academia books, but like, do they also have UFO books? This is what I want to know.
It'd be very interesting. I follow like a physics professor, and like he writes about cool stuff, not necessarily like UFOs, but he writes about invisibility or different things like that. He like publishes books. He wrote one about cats and physics. I want to get it.
Yes.
I forget his like Twitter handle, but he's great because he's so relatable. He's like, I'm sad and I just want to eat junk food. And it's like, wow, me too.
Isn't that like part of the WUFO principles? Oh my goodness. Yes, so you had a for your WUFO snack. Oh my gosh. Oh, so Adler succumbed to the cheese balls. I walked away from them at Dollar General, but I do have some regrets.
Listen, the other day, if you follow my really stellar social media feeds, you'll know I really wanted these. And I was like crying because I just really wanted cheese puffs, but I didn't want to leave my couch. So I bribed my brother. I let him buy whatever he wanted, but he got me these, and I've eaten this much in 2 days, and I don't know how many cheese balls that is, but it's not good.
I feel like we should have like like in school, they're like, guess how many gumballs are in the thing and you get a prize.
Yeah. Guess how many
cheese balls Adler.
Yeah. Yeah. I won't be able to tell you. I'll have to eat another one and like actually count as I eat. But for science, I will repeat this.
Process of elimination.
Yeah. So, and I literally ate dinner and then I just hounded like more of these. And so like, listen.
I love that you're eating those because one of my WUFO snacks was also cheese balls, but so is that the Oots brand?
Yes.
Okay. So I got Planters, which are just like a hair crunchier, but they're the blazing hot ones. I got them at this like really wild discount store called like Roses or something. I've never been there, but it was like ungodly cheap. It was really wild. All kinds of stuff. But I love where our heads are at with the snacks tonight.
It's necessary, you know? Like, I'll get back to the gym eventually, but until then, cheese puffs.
I love it. I love it. Oh so I see that we have Jeremy and Garrett here in the waiting room. I know that Jeremy mentioned that he could pop in whenever. Oh my goodness. I think that, what's going on there? Someone's messing with the settings. Okay. I would love to have Jeremy and or Garrett pop on for just a few moments before our intermission, just to kind of be like, yay, East Coast, celebrate with us. Oh, here he is. Let himself in. Hi.
Yay, East Coast, celebrate with us.
Thank you. That was it. I love it.
Screen fades to black.
Doop, doop, doop. Okay, so.
Okay, I'm back.
It's so funny. I see that Garrett is messing with our super special cam that we'll find out about in a few minutes, and I'm like, it's gonna be so cool and cute.
Yeah, he's got some pretty awesome surprises in store for us. We're very excited about that.
We love it, putting in the WUFO work. Oh my goodness, you guys. I forgot to mention one of like the most important announcements. Let me pull it up here. So, in honor of, East Coast, West Coast, getting this off the ground, giving more WUFO to the people, we're offering the coupon code WUFO on liminalmall.com. And that's going to give you 20% off of anything in our store. So, while supplies last, of course. And it's going to be, I think, for the next 24 hours or so. That's what Garrett was saying. But, if you've been waiting on some Liminal Mall products, now is probably the best time. So code WUFO, go check it out, liminalmall.com. And always join our Patreon, Liminal Earth. Oh my gosh, he's showing it off.
I am loving how, like, chaotic this is. It's just, like, shaking and zooming in and out.
Yeah, just like your local movie theater. Oh my gosh, Garrett, I didn't know that you had like a machine. I thought you were just
I didn't either. I didn't realize it was going to be this exciting.
This is so cool.
Is that olive oil? It looks like maybe some Evu. Oh no, it's avocado oil. Oh, that's a good choice. That's also.
Do you have any like butter flavoring?
Like oh my goodness! Can I tell you? I went to the movie theater the other day for the first time since the pandemic.
Yeah.
I went with my son and a couple of our friends, and we saw League of Super Pets, which pretty funny stuff. But I almost had completely forgotten how amazing it is to have an enormous like tub of popcorn and be able to add the stuff yourself.
Yes.
Because I'm like, I mean, that stuff is like, I'm like that.
Exactly. Me too.
It's so bad for you, but I love it so much. I missed it. I
love that we've both had this experience. Was it this week? This last week or so?
No. It was past week. It was last week.
So, like on like Sunday, I went to the movies, and I saw Barbarian. But I too had the excitement of getting my own butter from the dispenser. And
it's so exciting.
But like halfway through the movie, like I obviously had to pee because I've been chugging like soda, right? And so I was like, okay, this is exciting. We're gonna run. And I had like half the popcorn left, and I was like, yeah, more butter.
Yes. Hardcore.
More butter, please.
That stuff is like, it's like soma. Like that's like the, the ambrosia of the nectar of the Olympian gods. Like I want more.
It's the nectar of the people.
That's exactly right.
Oh my goodness, I'm dying. So I absolutely love the name tag and everything. This is gorgeous. I love this. This is the best idea.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I just saw the comment about the Dream Salve, and so it's actually a product that I had made here, and that's on Liminal Mall. It uses a Pacific Northwest plant called Fringe Cup, and the scientific name is Telema grandiflorum, and it's a cool plant, but it has been used in the past. First of all, there's an ongoing myth, and I've never met anybody who can get to the bottom of where this originates, that elves would eat it to gain better night vision. And then the other thing that it supposedly was good for was it would be used you'd eat it to not have like horrifying nightmares. Like if you were having really like very specific horrifying nightmares about having improper relations with your own relatives. Yeah. And I thought if this stops that kind of thing, it probably brings some pretty good dreams instead. So let's give it a try.
Yes.
So I put that into the salve. It's worked so far. What can I say?
It sure has. Well, you think there's some WUFOs and it's been exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I just thought I was having none of those dreams. So.
Oh goodness! Look at that.
Listen. But Bex, you should tell who King Arvon is, though.
Oh yeah.
Or Garrett can tell us. But you have like the raccoon. You have the Raccoon King in your history. So
I do. I missed this story. I'm so glad. We have that footage that we like never shared either. I made him like an offering plate and stuff. So King Arvon is who we affectionately named. I was actually, that's so funny that Adler's on right now, because Adler was whom I was Marco Poloing with when I haphazardly encountered this giant raccoon. And I was like, do, and I saw him run across the road, and I was like, Adler, this giant raccoon. So I'm like running, and this woods is just so tall and packed, but I see this little shack, and on top of the roof of the shack was King Arvon, the biggest raccoon I've ever seen. And he was just so proud of his little shack, and I think all his little family members were inside, and he was just so cute. And so obviously I was talking to him, and he was great. But I sent it to everybody I knew, and to the guys. It was like, this is the dude. So we've created some little earth lore around him, but we've gone such lengths as offering him food items safely, of course, and inspiring our Dream Salve label.
And there's the second part of that too, which I don't know, maybe Garrett can come on and talk about the Dream Park.
Yeah,
and what the raccoons have to do with that. Hi, Garrett. Welcome to WUFO.
Oh yeah, I just showed up.
Welcome to the East Coast.
Yeah.
There's the popcorn popper.
Yeah, it's right there. Oh, so the raccoon park. Well, there's a park behind my house that has been abandoned for 15 years, and I found out about this, and I got really excited about it. And I wanted to know what the deal was. And I asked the neighbors, and they said, "Oh, I've seen raccoons using the slide, going down the slide there." So we kind of have christened the, King Arvon, this raccoon. The other thing is that park became a thing on TikTok, where we put an item in that park to have everyone try to dream about it. It became like a little TikTok viral thing where people were trying to have dreams being in that park with the raccoons. So yeah, that's why the salve is named after that.
And I'm pretty sure they're the same raccoons.
Yeah, it's the same. Yeah,
they're just like traveling.
They're definitely relatives of some.
Yeah.
They only live like 40 minutes apart. I don't think that's too outlandish.
I thought you were going to stop at like raccoons only live for 40 minutes.
I know.
And part of me got so sad. You know, like moths only live for like 24 hours. I was like, no, don't tell me it's got raccoons.
They're like they're just like carnies. They're just they're like traveling, and they're like, let me find the next week. And the Dream Park is just one of their stomping grounds. That shack by my house is another stomping ground. Where else has King Arvin and his minions traveled?
Yeah, everywhere. Should King Arvon be our logo? Like,
I don't
we
know.
still don't have a logo.
I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
It's just such a headache because we can't. Like, there's so many different styles and so many ways we can go, and I love a lot of like our merch designs, and I just kind of wish one of those would work, but I guess it won't.
Okay, listen, but like Liminal Earth, it can change. It can just be.
Can we just have a different logo every day? Can we just decide 300 logos?
You know what it can be? It can be like, you know, Club Penguin when you collect the pins.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah, no, heck, that's a good idea. I think
so too. Actually,
change it like every however often, and then you get all of them you want, and people can collect them.
Yes.
Yeah.
We just release a new logo every week. I'm pretty actually super down.
Yeah.
Pretty actually.
Well, but then we need business cards, so.
Yeah, we do. Okay. Well, we can just blindly. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Should we? So we're gonna do a contact session, I think, right? And we're gonna have the West Coast guests come on, and I think we're gonna try something.
Yeah, we want to take an intermission before that so we can all potty and eat snacks and stuff. But we'll be like 5-10 minutes or so, and then we'll hop back on for the live contact session that we all know and love. Mm-hmm. And we'll have Kai Jensen and Emily Hoffman joining us as well.
And I made an intermission video.
Yes.
I'm gonna try to play that right now.
Perfect.
So yeah, when we do that, we're gonna go
right now or 5 or 10.
Oh, during the break.
During the 5 and 10. Yeah.
That is our break. That's
the intermission video that people watch while we're out. Okay. But I can remove us if you want to play the video.
Yeah. Let's do that.
All right, so we're gonna be back in 5-10 minutes, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Sounds good.
Okay.
But here's some entertainment.
Intermission time.
And now, before the next show starts, let's enjoy an intermission. You'll find our snack bar. And now, before the next show starts, let's enjoy an intermission. You'll find our snack bar chock full of good things to eat and drink. Tasty, tempting hot dogs, thirst-quenching soft drinks, fresh, crunchy popcorn, a complete assortment of delicious candy, and a full line of cigarettes. You've plenty of time, so visit the snack bar now. A tasty treat will double your enjoyment of the show. For your convenience, we shall keep you informed of the remaining intermission time, 3 minutes before the next show starts.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
The next show will start in 2 minutes.
Yes, Toddy, the chocolate malt in a can.
It's so good hot. It's so good cold.
It hits the spot with young and old.
Yes, Toddy pleases everybody. Delicious chocolate malted toddy, made with rich, real milk, not powdered milk.
So come and get it, everybody. It's time to drink your chocolate toddy.
Just a minute, folks. Yes, that's all it takes to visit our refreshment counter in the lobby. There you'll find popcorn and an assortment of popular candy bars to please every taste. Try one of these delicious candy bars. Big Time, Butternut, Milkshake, Payday. Topped with Hollywood's super rich coating of the kind you like best. They taste wonderful, they're delicious, they're nutritious. Get one at our confection counter in the lobby now. The next show will start in 1 minute.
Them. That's the Raccoon King. Them. That's the Raccoon King. That's the fucking Raccoon King. Hi, Raccoon King. What are you doing? What are you doing? Is that your house? You're so cute. Do you want some food? You see him? Like, he is so cute. I think that's the Papa. Are you the Papa? He's side-eyeing me through the tree. He's so cute. Do you like it when they call you Big Papa? Okay, I gotta go because there's like a family. Them. That's the Raccoon King. That's the fucking Raccoon King.
All right.
That was the Raccoon King.
That was the Raccoon King. Yeah.
Yeah, the intermission reel was primo.
Yeah, I just I found some old archive.org videos and yeah, it was fun. I want to do more of that. It was fun.
That is a much overlooked resource, I think, archive.org.
Yeah.
There is so much stuff because I only ever used to use it for the Wayback Machine. But there's so much there that I think is like, how would you ever be able to plumb its depths, you know?
Let's see.
All right. So while we're waiting for Bex, are you up to something fun, Garrett, or?
Yeah, I'm gonna well, I think we're gonna do we're gonna try a contact section. We had talked about this a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
But somehow letting everyone who wants to at home listen to the same Estes source sound.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna pipe that in, and I have a spirit box here and John Tenney's carrier waves. So I don't know if you want to do like a mix or one or the other. I also have Mac and Me. We could put the Mac and Me garbled audio.
Kai is also here and ready to join us.
Yeah,
are we ready?
Wow. Hi, Kai.
Hi. How are you?
Doing all right. Hello,
Welcome.
everybody.
Are you sure you're not a flying saucer?
I'm pretty sure.
But doesn't that make it unidentified? So, like,
oh yeah, that's right.
if you're not sure. Listen.
I was more thinking about, because I went to the Chehalis Flying Saucer Fest and apparently
right.
wearing my awesome shirt, but the concept of the ship that Arnold Kennedy,
Kenneth Arnold,
that's it. I was like, those initials are the wrong direction.
Close enough.
Same difference, whatever. That guy. But it was a misquote. What he said was that the ships moved like a saucer skipping across the water, but the shape of the ships themselves were not actually saucer shaped, which I thought was really interesting, like very technical detail that I just, it's a bit of nerdery that I enjoy. Like, that term came from a journalist basically misquoting this guy.
Yeah, there's a whole, like, I think they were like, did you see the mural in Chehalis? There's a mural that shows like what they look like, and they're like kind of like half moon shaped almost.
Yeah,
They're,
yeah.
like, moon shaped.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and then everyone started seeing saucer shaped crafts. Mysterious.
Let's see, I got a sticker.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Can't understand how mirrored images work, but
no, it's working. We can see it.
Yeah. That little guy.
Yeah, Arnold was also obsessed with owls, so there's a few layers of things not being what they seem. Which, of course, is appropriate for the Pacific Northwest. But Arnold was also... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Emily got some owl jewelry while we were
Really?
here.
That's interesting.
I'll let her talk about that.
He was also there in part to investigate the Maury Island incident, which is something I didn't realize until very recently. And the Maury Island incident, which was like another UFO incident that happened right here in, like, right in view of Mount Rainier in Puget Sound. Bex might actually know a little bit more about this than me, or Jim Perry. We'd have to get Jim Perry on here to talk with us sometime about it because he knows a lot about it. The Maury Island incident, Bex.
Yes.
And we were saying, like, I think that Kenneth Arnold was actually here in part to investigate that in some capacity or write about it or something like that.
Yeah, so he was brought in, like, because of his experience. He was in contact through, like, one of the magazines that started, like, I think that's how. But Kenneth Arnold was doing, like, a brief investigation on it. But then, like, what's so interesting is like everyone who was researching into it all got spooked away, and so many people were like, I don't know, there was something that made Kenneth also like a bit of a celebrity around his experience.
Mm-hmm.
And so while he went off into like that celebrity stardom, the Maury Island dude had like some really weird experiences that like made him face his own mortality. He had a lot of like threatening experiences and was like, nah, like, this ain't for me. So they kind of went opposite directions with that one.
That is it's just such an interesting like web of weirdness when you start really looking into it. It's interesting to me how often what seem like mundane paranormal events end up becoming like high strangeness kind of events. Like, you know, you think of like, you know, I hate to say it, but the ranch, the Utah ranch, a lot of people like look at that and they're like, that's high strangeness. It's got potential werewolf and weird orbs and UFOs and doors in the sky. And then you look at Maury Island and you start getting like, you know, weird things falling from the sky. And there's like a Supermax prison on the site or near the site now. And it's also extra weird.
Yeah.
And that's fascinating to me.
That is fascinating. Have we talked about what kind of our inspiration for tonight is? Or like not inspiration, but like some of like our game plan?
No, sorry. Hang on.
You're fine.
I'm messing with the So what did we talk? What have we said about it already? Have we said anything about it already?
I know Garrett had like a few good ideas about like how to play like the white noise and or the tinny sounds, and how we can all kind of mass participate in a contact session.
Right.
So Garrett, if you wanted to like elaborate on that. So hi Kai, I love you and miss you. I'm gonna say hi. I can't hear Garrett. Oh, is that what you're asking? Okay.
What's going on?
Can you hear me now? Okay.
Yeah.
So I have John Tenney's carrier sounds. They sound like this. And I can also play a spirit box. I could play both at the same time. The idea I thought we could do to make this more participatory is that everyone is listening to the same audio source here. So we all just like close our eyes, listen to this. I don't know if we have some kind of intention, and everyone at home as well, and maybe have some kind of intention for a way to contact, and then we spend some time just doing that, and then maybe we come back and we see what people saw or heard. So I don't know. I thought maybe some kind of group thing, but we should maybe have like a focus, and I don't know what that should be yet. If anyone has,
how would we like say it out? Like, would everybody say the words they were hearing, or write them down, or?
I think just hold on to things that you hear that that's the only thing I could think of, because I think it would just be too chaotic. But
yeah, that makes sense.
That's I'm winging this, you guys, but I think if people have if they want to do automatic writing or something at home, or draw, or just meditate and do visioning while they're listening, it'd just be interesting if we all hear, certain perhaps like similar things are heard or similar visions are made.
Yeah.
So I think that would be interesting, or maybe not at all. But I don't know if we have been going to that place in Grants Pass. We could go there again together as a group. Now that we've been doing that for 2 weeks. If people haven't been here the last 2 weeks, we've been trying to dream about this one particular place in Grants Pass, Oregon, where someone saw a bipedal hedgehog and a glowing fox. And they also had an experience with a Mr. Arcturian. They went into this like metaphysical shop there, and they realized they had an appointment or something.
They were waiting for them, and
they're like, I'm here to talk, like something like, I'm here to talk to Mr. Arcturian, and they like pulled out a book and like looked for the appointment. They like knew that he was coming. You can go on our map, Liminal Earth, and look that up, and it's pretty wild story. So we were trying to go to this place, visualize this place in Grants Pass, and people did have some dreams that kind of synced up. So I think maybe we could do that.
That's a great idea too. I like it.
Is anyone opposed to that idea? Does anyone have any other better ideas?
Has anybody called the bipedal hedgehog yet for their Halloween costume?
Ooh, Jeremy. Yes.
Because we're doing that. We're going to have it so that we're having a Liminal Earth themed costume contest.
Yes.
And
costume party.
Yes, that was the week where, Kiki, where you dreamt we all drank potion and became superheroes.
Yeah, that was the same one. And Garrett and I both had like weird like parallels in our dreams.
Wait, that's also when I had that dream where like Katie Webb and someone else, they were superheroes in my dream.
Oh my goodness.
I literally have that Marco Polo. Okay.
Yeah.
Literally. Okay. Wow.
That's some pretty weird stuff.
Fascinating stuff. Fascinating.
So, okay. So I have the audio ready, and you want to just do this for the next 16 minutes, 20 minutes? I don't know. What do you want to do?
Sure. I mean, that sounds good to me. I know that Tenny, if we do terrier noises, I combine Tenny and carrier noises together. If we 9 minutes is one loop. So we can do 18 or we can do math. And I don't know. I feel like 18 would be good if we did 2 loops. Okay. How do you guys feel?
That sounds fine with me. We could we do 1 loop and then pause and then ask how everybody feels?
I like that as well.
In case that's a good stopping point then. And if everybody thinks that was cool, let's do more.
Right. It's already 11:15 too. So, 9 minutes from now. Yeah, that's a good start. We'll do that. Okay. And
cool.
then
there was a question.
Yep.
They are. I don't know. Have the link up. Do you?
I know that he said that we can share it. I have it somewhere.
I will put it on wufo.watch/carrierwave.mp3. I'll put that up. It's not there now, but it will be, and I'll make it available for everyone.
Perfect. Love it. That's good.
I should probably stop the scroll that says intermission.
Yeah. Well,
oops.
Oh goodness. Back in 5 minutes. Yeah, we've been back for a while, huh?
I'll put it here eventually for everyone. Okay, I'm gonna put the. Should we just do Tenny sounds or should we do Spirit Box too?
Let's just do one for now to make it less confusing. Tenny sounds.
Okay.
I'm cool with that.
Is everybody cool with that? I don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Cool. And I got my notes app open, so I'll just kind of chill.
Well, that was weird.
I can't wait to see what you guys got.
Did you just see the banner?
That's amazing. Oh wow. Okay, let them flow in the comments, y'all. What did you see?
Yeah.
And we take turns sharing.
Do we want to do another round? Or do you want to wait and decide?
I don't know, it depends. How late do you start WUFO West Coast? Sorry.
I guess we all better type one.
I would go again. Do you guys want to do a spirit box instead, or do you want to do the carrier waves?
No, that could be interesting to try the spirit box this time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Why don't we try that real quick?
Okay.
Jeremy, will you keep time and just let us know?
Oh, yeah, sure. How long do we want it to go?
I say the same amount.
That was what, 9 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Awesome.
I got it.
Climate Pledge Arena in Seattle. Info at premierproductions.com.
You tuned in just in time.
Hey, how you doing? Glad you're here. The worship starts now.
What?
Did anyone else hear "It's over" right before it faded out?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think I did. I did hear hedgehog.
You heard hedgehog?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's awesome. Welcome, Emily.
Hi.
Yeah. Hi. Well, that was fun. I know Bex and Adler have to go, so maybe if they want to start and talk about if they experienced anything they want to share, and then we'll move on.
Sure. Okay.
Sounds good.
See that pencil point? Okay. So when we were first starting with the carrier waves, I started hearing like an underwater like submarine like radar like beep beep like kind of going through, and I heard someone say under the water, and I was like, oh, of course, water UFO. It's so original. And then I started seeing a lot of greens and purples in my mind's eye. And then I was like almost at like a carnival or something, like a festival, and it was one of those like, pick a duck or like shoot with the water gun and win a prize kind of shacks. And there were all of these, every single one of like the prizes were these blow up green aliens that were like see-through, like those 90s inflatable couches. But that was all that there were in like the whole carnival. And they were really rad. And then it like flipped really quick to a scene at night with this white gazebo surrounded by water. It was a moonlit night with purple clouds. And then I heard someone say, "What shirt did you wear?" And then I started seeing plums everywhere on the ground with one bite taken out. And that session finished with someone mentioning feathering or something being feathered. With the spirit box session, I didn't get as much. It does kind of give me a little bit of a headache. I heard people mention Fruity Pebbles a lot, like over and over again. And then I
heard Fruity Pebbles too.
No way!
I heard that.
I love it.
I totally heard.
Amazing. I love it. And like, well, speaking of Garrett, I kept seeing the bay by her house where we had WUFO with Nick, and we saw Vega for the first time. And I just like, it was like a really still night there, and I was just that the rest of the session pretty much. So that was mine. What about Adler?
Oh, we got another Fruity Pebbles.
Wow.
Okay. So different, but some similarities that I think are weird. So in the first one, I don't know what this like location looks like, but I was going down a path in the woods, but it wasn't like woods here in Florida. But tall shrubbery, weird shrubbery to me. So not what I'm used to, but down this like path, and it almost sounded like I was walking down this path and I knew I had to go down it and then like a weird kind of diagonal to the left. But in my head, it was like there was like a police officer talking to somebody about what they saw. And then there was these voices in the back, and it sounded like old time radio, like those like old sounding voices. And it was like, "Did you see that? I just heard it jumping over there. I heard kids running." And it was like, what is going on? And then it like flipped, and I just heard 6 foot, 60 degrees. I didn't notice at first. And then I saw like pebbles in the water, like in a river. But they were like weird, like very, very round. They were like gray, but had like a lighter gray or white circle in their like top right corner. And they were like arranged in the river. And then I was like I don't want to say a spaceship. I don't want to say that, but some kind of a weird metal warehouse, maybe, I don't know, structure, talking to people, but it had a bluish purple light, like that bluish purpley thing going on. Very, very prevalent. So that was weird. And the spirit box, I didn't hear Fruity Pebbles, but I heard a lot of, like, let's see, where is it? At one point I heard, like, are you looking up? And then it said cloudy. And then it kept saying, at least I kept hearing it say, open your mind, you have a task. I'm in a tunnel. I don't know what that means. So, yeah. The rest kind of felt like gibberish, but at some point it was like, I'm in a tunnel. And it was like, oh, great, cool. I'm glad. So,
Adler, have you ever seen or heard of Petoskey stones or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did the stones look like that at all? Like when you were describing it, that's kind of what came to my mind.
Where'd I put my cellular? I literally need to look up a picture because I know I should know exactly what those look like, but because I'm from Michigan and that's where they are. It kind of looked like that. Very round like that.
Petoskey what? How do you spell it? I want to look it up.
Petoskey.
Oh, those are cool.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen stones like that. It's that pattern.
Yeah.
Like the hexagonal pattern.
Adler, it's interesting what you were describing when we were doing the Teddy sounds. It kind of looks a little bit like,
yeah.
This, like, yes. I was like, I could see like the trees reflected in the water.
Wow. Yes.
Huh.
I love that you drew that. Wow.
CJ just tweeted out. I think she did some automatic drawing.
Perfect. I took a screenshot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone who at home who's listening at home should tweet what you saw and tag WUFO so we can. Because comments here are great and you should put them here, but we can't keep this, so it'd be better if you put it on Twitter or email us pictures or anything like that,
or drop in the Discord.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Any of those places are great.
So I'll start the thread on Twitter right now.
Cool.
I do have to hop off here, unfortunately. So I wanted to say
that. No, understandable.
I'm excited to watch this the West Coast.
Yeah, that's right.
You guys.
After Adler and Bex leave, we get to talk about them.
Oh my god! Yeah, I'm gonna go pass out, so I won't even know what you said. But Alex, it was not the Uper lights. I did not say a Uper light. I would know. So have fun.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks
for the handoff.
Yeah.
Should we do a little intermission real quick? I can play the videos from these two. I some of us might need bio breaks, as they call them in the corporate world. And we'll come back with Kai and Emily, and we'll talk more about the spirit, the session we just did. Here.
Also, maybe hear some fun accounts from the Chehalis Flying Saucer Party. Yeah. Cool.
Okay, we'll be right back. I'm going to play some videos of theirs.
Emily, you have time to...
So we just signed a lease for this house, which is, great because it'll be great to have a house and a backyard. And I was working on bringing some packages in today that's just going to make our move easier this weekend. And I'm just like looking out my window and I swear to God, those rocks look like skulls and it scared the goddamn shit out of me. Do those not look like skulls? I feel like they look like skulls. Anyway, I'm sure that I'll get used to that and they won't scare me in the middle of the night. But why the fuck? What is that? Okay, so I definitely just want TikTok to know that I came back out here in the rain just for you guys to get a look at these. And I hadn't noticed this before, but there's stairs into our backyard. These are the stones, and they definitely are supposed to look like skulls. Like they were meant to look like this. And they are in a row all the way up to our back door. And they're stone. They're for sure stone, but I don't know why. I have no explanation as to why these were put out. That one's particularly creepy because he's like disintegrating, but they're definitely like, they're concrete. Like there's rocks in there. Does give me some questions about the prior tenants though, I suppose. I don't know who did this decorating. Maybe they just have really interesting like exterior decorating desires. I don't know. I have no answers for you.
This is lemon balm. If you live in the Pacific Northwest, you might have a yard full of it. You might not know is that it is a lovely plant for kind of bringing that bright, lemony, citrusy sunshine vibes all year long if you tincture it. It's actually supposed to be quite good for mood boosting. So I harvested a whole bunch of it from my yard in 2020. It sit and did all the things, but I realized that I used 100% grain alcohol instead of diluting it at all, and it's really potent. So it's just been sitting in a cold, dark place in my house waiting for the moment. And last night I realized what a better thing to do than to combine it with some of my alien UFO water. So this tincture is now part of my WUFO kit. I used some of this. I just put some of this directly in my mouth. It's about a 3-to-1 woof, like alien water to lemon balm tincture, and that seems to be working pretty well. I mixed this and several mushroom tinctures in my water that I was drinking last night, in addition to doing a few droppers directly in my mouth. And use that to kind of both like give me that like fun, silly, lifted energy from the lemon balm tincture to connect with the aerial entities who bring that same kind of energy, but I also wanted to have something to keep me tethered. That's been a theme as well. So in the water that I was drinking last night, I did a combination of my new WUFO tincture and some different mushroom tinctures that I have, and I use those thinking about the mycelial network and how important it is to have a tether. So those are my tethering components, and I think it worked really well. I had a good session doing some Estes automatic writing. This is
all right.
Yeah. So I'm actually I have some of that tincture.
Ooh.
Oh.
That Kai blessed me with when I was visiting Portland, and I love it. I use it before WUFO every week since I've brought some home.
That's fun.
Wonderful.
I still use it every week too.
That's great. While the Estes stuff is still in our minds, maybe we should just go through that real quick, and then we can. Is that okay? And then,
yeah.
I don't know if Kai or Emily, if you wanted to talk about any. I don't know. Were you doing it, Emily? Were you?
I don't know. I pulled cards.
Okay.
I've never used this deck before, but it's
the crow deck.
The crow deck.
Fun.
And really what jumped out while I was shuffling was it was the Queen of Wands. And then it was the 9 of Pentacles and the 2 of Swords. So, but this is, like I said, I've never used the deck before. This was the first time I've used it, so I might have to let that percolate a little bit. I did hear hedgehog. Like for sure I heard hedgehog.
Ooh.
Because I only did the second one because we have like guest dogs over, and we were actually making a mojito out of the UFO mint that I've been growing up front. So my UFO water mint is now part of it's in a mojito. But yeah, so I heard hedgehog for sure, and then I was just sort of shuffling the rest of the time. So
wow.
Well, that's awesome.
Kai, did you have an experience you want to talk about? Just the drawing, or
I mean,
you want to talk about it more?
I drew a thing. I wrote I have like a whole list of words that I heard during the other thing, but I think it's mostly nonsense, to be honest. I'll have to marinate and see if anything jumps out.
Did you have a feeling between either of those, like a difference of like how it felt while you were doing it? Did you
I like the carrier waves better. I think for me, I feel like if I can tap into a more visual space, it's kind of skipping over my conscious, like filtering word brain and like really going more into that subconscious place. And so the carrier waves seem to do that better for me. But I think they're both like interesting to play around with.
Yeah. I'll just say briefly, I did when I was doing the carrier waves, I was kind of visualizing going up to that kind of like overgrown green space that's in the photo that we were putting out of like that location. And I was trying to like, I saw a welcome mat on the ground. So I was like, okay, there's a welcome mat. So I was like trying to get into it. And I kept like kind of like looking for a door, and I couldn't. Like, it felt like I kept bumping into that and not being able to do that. And then I decided I have this like little mugwort cigarette here. So I decided to like leave that. And then I felt like I could kind of see an opening, and I kind of was going in. I felt like there was a little bit more of an opening, but then everything ended by that time. So then the second time, so I did notice that it feels more visual doing that carrier waves to me. I'm not hearing words really. Sometimes I hear whispers, but I can't, it's hard for me to make them out. The other one, I heard a lot of words, and I did hear Fruity Pebbles, which is weird. It's weird that there's like, Adler saw Pebbles, and then a lot of people heard Fruity Pebbles.
And I have fruit on my shirt.
Oh yeah.
I would have sworn to you that was like Reptar from the Rugrats.
Oh really? No, it's bananas.
Yeah. Okay, see, now I see bananas, but I would have sworn Reptar or dinosaurs.
I kept asking in my head, like, how do I open this door? How do I get in there? And then I heard on the Estes, or the spirit box, I heard speak open. So I was like, okay. So I started talking out loud, and I asked it to open. And then I heard, I can't. I said, okay. So I said in my mind, like, well, can I open it? And they said, you can't. I was like, okay, well, that's helpful. And then I heard time, it's great. Blackberry, I'm blind. So I'm not sure. I felt like there was a little bit of like something there, but that was all I got overall. Trying to get into this into that space. I don't know. I'm feeling kind of, I don't know if that's just like it's similar to when we did that visualization of going to the dark side of the moon and feeling like unwelcome a little bit. I mean, I feel like, I don't know if this is like a personal thing with me, like my feeling of being imposing or something. I don't know. Or maybe I need to be better about approaching this stuff. I don't know. So.
I did feel like the spirit box had a really specific, like it had a specific dance beat. I felt like it was a song, and it continued. I was like, I could jam to this. Yeah, and it was like consistent throughout. It kept coming up like a chorus. There was like the same sort of dance beat that it would like fade out and then it would fade back in.
Yeah, we have a video of Garrett doing an Estes session with a spirit box and with the what do you call it?
Brain machine? Yeah, the
brain
glasses.
Machine, right? Out at near the site of the oranges, because we were trying to ask like the area if it knew what was up with the oranges. But the whole time he was just like dancing to the spirit box beat. I can see that, the spirit beat box.
Garrett, it's interesting that you said that you felt kind of unwelcome, because towards the end, I got like the most like of anything that made sense was it almost sounded like a conversation between two people, and it was somebody said, "You ready?" and then somebody said, "What the hell?" And so he's like, "What was that?" And then I heard, "It's over." Yeah. Like, so it was like almost like it felt like eavesdropping, or like dropping in on a channel that you weren't supposed to necessarily be on or something. Yeah. So yeah, I definitely got like similar vibes. I also heard the music, Emily. I thought about trying to like staff it out, and instead I ended up trying to like draw it like a heartbeat. I was like, I don't know, maybe this will help me remember.
Well, I was like, so I got this new tarot deck. I think I might have mentioned it last week. It's this Greek Egyptian magic tarot deck, and it's got like, it's all based on the, it's from the Greek magical papyri, but it's got like a bunch of Greek gods and goddesses and Egyptian gods and goddesses, and it also it can be used, like the instruction book has it like as a manual to cast the spells from the papyri using the cards. So like a lot of the cards actually have like you can see this one, like that's like an amulet from the Greek magic papyri, so you can carry this card around and use it as the amulet. It's really, really cool, and it's so cool that I'm not comfortable using it yet, because it's so kind of intricate and interesting. So I thought, like, during the first one, as part of maybe like getting some insights into some of the cards, I was going to start just kind of flipping through them. And so that's what I was doing during the carrier waves. And I can't say that I got any actual specific meanings, but I started hearing the names of like the deity cards, like almost before I looked at the card to find out who it was. So like I would hear in the carrier waves, I'd hear Poseidon, and then I'd be like, Poseidon. And I don't know if this is one of those things where it's like those TikToks where like you read a word and then you listen to the sound.
Oh,
and
yeah,
it says that, and then they flash up another word and you listen to the sound and it says that, and it's the same sound. I don't know if it's like a similar principle to that or not, but it was really interesting because it would just be like, yep, that's what it is. That's what the card I'm looking at. And then the second one with the spirit box, I decided I'd flip through this book of weird plants. It's from the Kew Gardens, the Kew Royal Botanical Gardens, and it's got like all the weirdest like actual plants in the world, but they're done in this bizarre artwork. And so I was flipping through because I was thinking, like, wouldn't it be cool if like a Rothschild's slipper orchid like lined up with a word or something like that. Unfortunately, I didn't really get any hits, but it's a cool book.
I like that though. It's almost like, I wonder if you could almost take it a step further and somehow combine like the stone book Mancy. Nope, those aren't
like
the words.
Magic sentences.
Yeah.
Yeah, could you derive magic sentences using what you pick up in an Estes?
Yeah, or somehow combine like flipping through a book with like what you're getting
and kind of pair up like words from the book and words that you're getting. Yeah, could be.
Oh, Courtney has to go. Bye, Courtney.
It would be cool to somehow incorporate that whole magic sentence thing with this. I think that'd be cool. I love just mixing all this stuff up and seeing what happens, like a weird paranormal stew. So do you all want to talk about going to the Chehalis Flying Saucer Fest some more?
Yeah, I mean, I'm down for that.
Yeah.
Should
we? Do you want to introduce yourselves real quick?
Yeah,
anyone who doesn't know,
a great idea too.
Who you two are?
Yeah, I don't know. See, that's the thing. I don't even know how to write about. It's like when I'm a writer, but I can't write about myself. I don't see now. I feel like I'm like at some sort of a meeting. Hi, I'm Emily. I'm addicted to Mothman. I accidentally made my house a little bit viral with the stone skulls in the backyard, right as we moved in. But like mostly, like I'm just kind of hanging out. I'm like mostly an actor. I also work with Excel spreadsheets during the day. And I don't know. Kai last weekend while we were at the UFO party said that as a child I was a paranormal hypochondriac, which is probably like really the truest thing that anybody, like I swore I was possessed and then my dad had to call the library and tell the library like not let me take out any more ghost books. And then I thought I was gonna like spontaneously combust for a while, like really seriously, and then I learned all of the signs, and so then I've just kind of been in this ever since I was little. See now I'm talking too much, but you know what I think it is when I was in first grade, because I have ADHD, my parents took me to a whole bunch of like child psychiatrists, and one of them, when I was really little, went through this whole series of questions that were like, would you be afraid if like an alien abducted you in the middle of the night? And like, I had not been afraid of that before, but as soon as she suggested that, I was, yes, that's terrifying. So then she told my parents that she thought I was like paranoid, delusional. I'm not. We never went back to see that woman again, but I think that she just planted aliens in my head and I have been stuck on them ever since.
That's terrible.
That's the worst. But my parents are great, so I ended up okay. You know, mostly.
You made lemonade.
Okay is relative, but we're good.
So I think we can also probably say it, but one of the reasons we invited Kai and Emily on tonight is because we are inviting them to help us grow our ambassador program, which is like super cool and exciting. We don't really have any details on that just yet, but we're super excited to have them helping with this and hoping to have them come on more frequently. So yeah.
I'm excited about it. I'm a people person, so I'm like really not a people person, but I am an actor and a Gemini, so. Like, I guess maybe that just says that I want attention, I guess. But I'm excited to talk to everyone and get to do that. I really did. I was surprised by how many people. I made a tweet the other day about like doing like a paranormal wilderness retreat, and I was surprised by how much response I got from that. I was like, surely no one else just wants to go hang out in the woods and talk about Bigfoot, but apparently everybody does a little bit.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
listen.
Yes,
we're gonna make this happen.
Yeah.
But camping?
Okay, no, here's the thing. I already have the perfect place in mind because they have a fantastic campground and the campsites are all nice and remote, but they also have cabins and they have a like hotel situation. And they have spots for RVs. You can have whatever level of bouginess you need.
I was going to say, I'm a glamper.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying.
Glam camping.
And this is, I love camping. I love everything about camping except camping. Like
I had you in mind.
Sleeping in a tent. Like I love cooking outdoors. I love like foraging for what I'm going to eat and hiking and like beautiful things and nature and all that stuff, but like I can't sleep in a tent, and I always feel like crap the day after when I wake up.
I agree. I agree. I just
All
want to
right.
sleep in a bed.
So this place sounds perfect. I'm in. I'm sold.
I am serious about colluding with Emily to make this happen.
Yeah, let's
We're
do it.
gonna.
Let's do
I
it.
have a. I just really want s'mores. I think, but like s'mores, and cryptids. Like I think that I don't know why no one has like combined like s'mores and cryptids before. Like I feel like there's a thing around campfires where people like talk about ghosts specifically, but like if you're out in the woods, why not like expand that to the aliens and the cryptids and Mothman? I just want Mothman camp.
I think that's a great idea. Yeah.
I mean,
Shrimpy camp.
Jeremy and I have been talking for a long time about liminal scouts because we have kids, and we're talking about like we don't like the Boy Scouts or some like iffy things about that. But like, what if it would be cool if you like took our kids out and we're like, like looking for Bigfoot and stuff and getting the merit badges and the whole thing.
Dowsing merit badge.
Right.
My roommate and I
merit badge.
really my roommate and I don't have my roommate Erica. Hi Erica, who I know is watching from like the living room 5 feet away. Yes. So not only but we would definitely take it. We were both Girl Scouts, and I think we actually like met at a Girl Scout camp like 10 years before we actually met. So then we became best friends like after Girl Scout camp. We're also born 3 days apart. So we're Erica and I. Kai knows the Erica situation. Erica and I are like inseparable, but we would definitely, as former Girl Scouts, would take your children camping. Right. You can come too, but if you just want to send your children out into the woods, we would take them.
That would be so fun. Yeah, plaster casting batch. Perfect. Yeah. Put a pin in this idea.
I also used to assist at a Boy Scout camp. I ran the kids programming for like the tots of the parents who were doing everything else. So I feel like, we can have a grown-up time, Bigfoot, Sasquatch adventure in the woods, with hot springs involved perhaps, and then later we can have kids camp. Yeah.
Here's the thing though. I really want to figure out a way, and I've been thinking about this lately, just, how we've kind of come around as a culture to having like Zoom and virtual stuff as just daily life now. It's no longer weird. And most people have access to it somehow. I think like any physical event, like there's no excuse now to not have virtual components to that too, to make it like as accessible as possible. And it would be cool to like combine those two. Like, I hear about like, I think it's awesome that people are going on like Strange Escapes tours and stuff like that now. But like, it would be, I would pay like, a third of that cost for like a quality virtual option where I could, participate with those people.
Yeah, I think the only potential hang up is there are certain locations where you're just not going to have strong enough signal to be able to do a very good live stream. But I think there's a solid potential for some like, can't make it live, you can experience a certain version afterwards in those instances at the very least.
Yeah, because there were those, like, we did a few of those like virtual experiences offered by Airbnb and stuff during the pandemic, because we had wanted to go traveling around this time, and we had to cancel a lot of potential travel plans, so we did like a virtual tour of Venice, and this one where like you just went to a sheep farm, and it was just like the sheep farmer like showing you the sheep and telling you about the different breeds and stuff like that. And I was like, this is really cool, and there's no reason we couldn't do something like that now, like, and keep doing it so that it's ultra accessible. So
okay, but like, can we do like a virtual, or even like a virtual half if you want to go, I just want to go to an alpaca farm. Can we do
yes.
Alpaca farm?
Yes, we have some, up near Mount Vernon.
What?
Oh yeah, there's a few. You can
just
visit
also
them.
found out like yesterday, I don't know why I was Googling this, is that there are petrified trees in Washington.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
didn't realize that there's like a whole petrified, I'm clearly from the Midwest, but I for some reason thought that there were only petrified trees in like California, because I don't know why. That's just where I saw a petrified tree once. So I was like, that's where all the petrified trees are, obviously.
I was really sure that you were going to say petrified alpaca. And I was just like, is it really scared or is it petrified like wood?
Yeah.
I promise. We're not petrifying any. I'd feel bad. They're just
it's so cool though. Have Kai or Garrett, have you ever been there to the petrified forest? It's like kind of over the, it's like we stopped on our way to Idaho, so that kind of tells you where it is. It's like in the desert, and it's really cool. I mean, it's a state park, and there's actually some really shitty parts about it. When they were dredging the Columbia, they basically, like, an entire site of petroglyphs was going to be underwater. So they, instead of like not dredging, they cut the petroglyphs out of the side of the cliff and like move them all up to where the state park is. So the petroglyphs are beautiful, but it's so strange. It's a strange feeling to look at them knowing that like they actually were down where, we decided commerce was more important than the Columbia River. So, Kiki is leaving. Kiki, good night.
Kiki.
Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah.
But that being said, all the petrified wood and the landscape and, the trees, they're all like ginkgo trees and stuff, like weird prehistoric trees that are mostly extinct. And it's really cool. It's a cool place to visit. And there's like a kitschy, like a place with those like poured concrete dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And it's like, a rock store kind of. And it's just so cool. It's fun. It's like Pee-wee's Big Adventure fun.
Yeah.
So Tenny posted something on Twitter, I think yesterday, about there being like 5 billion ghost ants, because there's like billions of ants. And my thing is that whenever I see like dinosaur bones, I have to apologize to them for their like one really bad day, because presumably they all had like one really bad day. And that's what, but like if there are ant ghosts, then presumably there are also like dinosaur ghosts, and I would just really want to go talk to a dinosaur ghost badly. And one of the first parks that I remember ever going to, because my parents took us everywhere when I was little, was like the petrified forest. And like things like the petrified forest or like old growth forests in general always seem so much more like prehistoric, and that seems like the perfect place to go like hunt for a dinosaur ghost. I don't know how you would communicate with a dinosaur ghost because they don't speak English, but maybe you can just vibe. Like I'd love to vibe with T-Rex.
Yeah.
There's a really, really underrated horror movie called The Last Winter. Have you heard about that?
No.
So it's set at like this oil drilling exploration station above the Arctic Circle. And it starts off as this very cut and dry, like the evil oil company wants to, destroy the planet to get their oil, and there's these environmentalists, but the environmentalists are using like terrorist tactics to, and who's right and who's wrong. But then all of a sudden people start dying mysteriously, and it does turn out that the oil contains like the ghosts of dinosaurs. And that's as far as I'm gonna go. It's totally like it's not like a spoiler to say that it comes in like
I'm in.
but
You sold
like go get that. And like Ron Perlman's in it. And it's really strangely fun. So yeah.
We should do watch parties, I think, like as a group. We should like watch the movie. Yeah, about dinosaurs. We should watch the movie about dinosaur ghosts all together, and then we should all, or whoever can come to the petrified forest and try and contact the dinosaur ghosts.
Yeah.
Yes. When I took a road trip just to see roadside attractions in my 20s, and one of the places we stopped was along I-90 in South Dakota, there was a petrified garden that was like this kind of just personal collection of some really large petrified logs, and just kind of behind this like 6-foot fence, just kind of like arranged in the ground, and you paid like $12 to like walk in. And it was really cool to see them, but also very strange because they were just like in this like backyard of this building. So you like walk around outside and you look at all the chunks of petrified wood, and then you went inside and there were like more like a little personal fossil collection, basically. It was really neat, but I think I looked it up at some point during the pandemic, and I think that was the end of it. I think it is closed now, which is sad.
No, that's sad.
Jocko West has been there.
Yeah. Oh wow, been there. Yeah. Tell us about it. The petrified wood thing also reminded me that that's one of the things that I like about amber. Like, I love amber.
See you next week, Janet.
Hi, Janet. Because amber is like, it's like the most magical of rocks to me. Because one, it's like something you find in like loot drops in RPGs all the time. But mainly it's because like, you know, like, oh, it's a pretty gem. Like, no, it's the solidified blood of prehistoric trees. And so it's also the most metal.
Yeah.
I thought for a second, I was like, it's not dinosaur blood. I would know. I thought you were going to say that it's petrified dinosaur.
No, but it's fossilized.
Like, that's not.
It's fossilized tree sap, amber is. And so, you know, that's just so cool. And then like you can rub it and it generates static electricity. And
oh, see, I didn't know that. I didn't know
Isn't it like a long time ago? That's how they figured out some stuff about like electricity or something.
Yeah, that's the word electro comes from like the Greek word for amber, because that's how they.
It's like rubbing it on a cat or something.
Yeah, I did a TikTok where I rubbed it on Emmett. Remember?
Yeah.
If you go to our page, our TikTok, I did a TikTok where I rubbed some on Emmett, and it like picked up like little shreds of paper. And the other thing about amber is that if it's like the real amber, if you rub it, it smells like pine sap.
Oh.
Yeah, I somewhere, and now I'm like questioning, but in Denmark, amber washes up on the beach, like agates do here. And so I have a amber necklace that was my grandma's, because my dad is from Denmark. My dad's a Danish citizen. But it's this beautiful amber necklace, and it's like,
wow.
Yeah, just like string after like piece after piece of this like chunky amber. I was gonna make you jealous.
That is. I am. I'm totally jealous. I'm jealous.
I'll find it for the next show and tell. I'm gonna bust into this Kiki package. Kiki sent me a package.
Oh my gosh! Oh no! And Kiki just left too. Oh.
Right. Well, Kiki can watch the video later.
I know.
Incentive.
Kiki's book on oracles and divination is like my initial go-to if I ever have a question about something about that.
You know, I am only just learning. I ordered the book, waiting for it to arrive. I'm excited.
Yeah, no, it's really, really good. I highly recommend it to anybody interested in divination. It's got like all of the kinds, like with divination with bones, divination with like fog, or I don't know. I don't know if fog is actually in there, but it's got like everything that you could use you know, as an oracle. Divination with I don't know about popcorn though, Garrett.
You should totally do divination with popcorn.
I think if you just like even threw it and just looked at what shape it landed
That's
in.
true, yeah.
Do you guys want me to do that?
If it's burned.
You could cast lots with the unpopped kernels.
so much cute stuff in here. I got some stickers.
Oh, are you doing? We're doing the popcorn divination. So, what did you get? Unboxing.
I'm unboxing. I got some stickers, some super cute stuff happening. I got a whole bunch of candles for different elements that are like beeswax candles. Cute card. Or like a transparent mushroom.
Ooh. I love like I get up close to the screen, like that's actually going to help make it clearer somehow for me.
I do the same thing though.
Some Mother Ocean potion.
Oh wow, that's cool. I love her packaging.
All sorts of goodies. Yeah, highly recommend. Kiki was like offering.
That sticker actually looks like my earrings, which are the moth sticker.
Huh.
Oh, this one?
Yeah.
Oh, it does. Yeah, that's cool.
And I got these at the UFO party last week.
Oh my goodness, an Adventure Time.
Adventure Time, the Fool. It's perfect.
Is there an Adventure Time tarot that I don't know about?
I don't know. I hope so now. This gives me hope that it exists in the world.
Absolutely. I'm gonna have to look into this. So what did you read in the kernels, Garrett?
Well, it landed all over my desk, but one of them landed on my keyboard, and it landed on the delete key.
Ooh.
So I don't know if that means anything.
That's it. It's done. The universe is deleted.
Yeah.
You're responsible. That popcorn.
Yeah. I didn't see any other signs or symbols.
Well, would y'all be up for talking about the party?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Cool. Do you know the backstory behind it all and all that good stuff, or?
Like a little bit. Like I'm like terrible with names and like dates.
Kenneth Arnold.
There you go.
I already called him Arnold Kennedy earlier. That can happen now.
You should hear me recap movies because it's much like this. But that dude went and he was like out there and he like saw a UFO and he didn't describe it the way that the journalist described it, but he was like in Chehalis, right? He was like there. Is that where he saw it?
He was in an airplane. He was in an airplane. And he landed in Chehalis.
That's what it was.
I had heard he took off from Chehalis, but he probably landed there too if that was the case.
He also took off from after he landed there. Those things happen together sometimes.
Yeah, and I couldn't see. I'm very good. Clearly, I did not do well in history in general, but I know I couldn't tell if the Yardbird thing was separate. There were a lot of Yardbirds.
Yeah,
I think Yardbirds was a store, and somehow they just embraced the flying saucer-ness of Chehalis as well.
Yeah, but it's like a little like Archie McPhee is for us, I think. Here in Seattle, but like I think that the whole Chehalis, like, so the original flying saucer parties, they actually had them in like the 50s and 60s or something in Chehalis. And I think it was like every town was looking for like, come and see our quaint little town. Like that was when Leavenworth became like a Bavarian village in, Leavenworth, Washington. Became a Bavarian village in the mountains, and Chehalis had their flying saucer party, and that was like that their buy-in there. Some like genius in the Chehalis City Council was like, that fellow says he saw flying saucers, and he took off from our airstrip. Like, we need to get in on this. So they had their party for a while, and then they stopped and I guess it wasn't the draw it used to be. But then after that, like the person who runs the Lewis County Museum, Jason, he's a really, really nice, very cool person who has an abiding interest in this kind of thing. And oh man, I follow him on, I think, Twitter or Facebook or something, and he makes like replica Twin Peaks stuff and collects like old props from Twin Peaks and stuff.
There was a lot of Twin Peaks conversation, and
Yeah.
I'm from Ohio. So like I don't really know the layout of Washington because I've only been here for 6 years. Is the Twin Peaks stuff close? Because I know Twin Peaks stuff is also in Washington, but is it close relative?
It's very close.
Chehalis? Okay.
Yeah, not to Chehalis.
Chehalis, no. But close to Seattle.
Yeah.
It's the North Bend.
Yeah, it's like 45 minutes away.
Seattle, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually the log that Laura is found under is like 20 minutes from me here on the west side.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some things that are over here and then some things on the other side.
Yeah. So his interest in it is like really interesting to follow as well. But anyhow, we were invited to the first new Chehalis Flying Saucer Festival by him and through our friend Vince Inunza. I can't pronounce his last name. I'm sorry. Who does Pacific North Weird, which is another kind of long time, like they do funny YouTube videos and have like the bead on, you know, the regional weirdness here in the Pacific Northwest. And we met him through doing a music festival that was UFO themed. And then he got us hooked in with the Flying Saucer Party. So we were at the first one. And then we were invited to this one, but unfortunately none of us could make it. So it's very cool that y'all were able to go because you went to the McMinnville one and we're together there too, right? Like,
yeah, I was gonna say at this point, like it seems like we'll be great ambassadors because Kai and I just go everywhere all the time.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We cover the UFO beat. It's funny because before Liminal Earth, UFOs were actually kind of my least, like of all of the para-weird stuff, UFOs were kind of at the bottom of my list, but I just keep going to UFO festivals all of a sudden. I was fascinated. I asked at the end of the day, they brought all of the panelists together and they let the audience ask questions. And I asked if folks on the panel felt like all flying saucers were nuts and bolts crafts. And not a single one of them said yes. They all thought that there was like something else to it. And there were 6 of them sitting up there. And I was fascinated by that.
Wow.
Those are really, I can't remember the older couple.
Your favorite?
Yes,
I was dream couple.
Oh my God, they were so cute though, because they did this whole like presentation where he was like interviewing her and she was like pretending to be like 20 different people, like 20 different women that they'd interviewed over the years. And so she had like a whole box of costumes and he was just really like straight faced and she would go on like 5-minute monologues as different characters. So it was like she was like living her theater dreams and he was just supporting her so hard and she had all these costume changes and like that's all I want out of a relationship is just someone.
He's like reading from the book that he's written. And meanwhile, she's like changing and then somehow it's time just right. And she's in character and she launches into the whole thing. She's off book. She doesn't need a script. She has just like, and there's like a little bit of a different lilt to the different voices that happened with the different outfits. It was amazing.
They were just, and the way that they looked at each other and like they just were such because he he is such a military man, and you can tell every time he opens his mouth that the way that he got into UFOs even was through the military, and he is a military guy, and he is so straight-laced. And she was like, I've met ghost horses, and I love crystals and butterflies, and I just want to act. And it was just the cutest thing that I have ever seen.
That's
and like
awesome.
I just was so, I just loved it. And I also really loved the MUFON lady, because she was so intense. She was like really passionate about it. And I was like, man, I just want to like get a drink with this lady and let her yell at me about why the UFOs are here. Because she was like really like, Washington is it. Washington is the place for UFOs. And they are like, I think she said they were in the mountains, which I didn't understand. But like,
we could probably make that happen, by the way.
She seemed so fascinating to me, because she had said that the reason that she got into, because I think there were a couple of us that wrote that same question about why did you get into this initially, and she moved here, I think she said like 12 years ago or something, and she met two women that had told her that they had been abducted by aliens, and she was like, well, I've got to understand why these women had this experience. And she was so like moved by that and by these experiences that these other women had that she then like got into UFOs, and now she's the head of like MUFON, and she's really into it. So there was something, there's something very endearing to me that she believed in these other women so intently that she like needed to figure out the UFOs for herself, and now she's gonna get everybody else on board.
It very much felt like her Erin Brockovich story.
Yes.
She was like, I heard these things from people and I could not let it rest. I had to figure out what was happening for them.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So I think so it was James and Joanne Clarkson. Was that
yes.
And then her name is it Maureen Morgan?
Yes.
I think. Yeah.
Yep.
That's who it was. So pretty awesome. And then did you get to talk to, or did you meet with Chanel at all? Chanel Shands?
I don't think so.
She's Kenneth Arnold's granddaughter.
She didn't speak at the time she was supposed to, and then spoke at a time that was supposed to be no one speaking while we were getting lunch. So
yep. We did hear her a little bit at the end though.
Yeah. She was interesting. I got some fascinating quotes from her. Her answer to the question, what alien, fictional or real, would you like to meet, was Jesus, without
no hesitation. Just went right for it.
And she then like went into greater detail about how she like fully believes that Mary was impregnated by an alien and that Jesus was an alien. And like, I was just like, that's what Idaho UFO life like. Like, it was a flavor of UFO world that I had not previously been aware existed.
The UFO side of things doesn't really mesh with. I don't know if I want to call myself a Reformed Catholic, because I don't know that I don't go to church anymore, but I still wear a St. Joan medal, so I don't know that I would call myself Reformed either. But like those two things, I've never heard anybody like whip the Jesus thing out so fast at a UFO convention before. That was really interesting that would even like commingle. Like, I just would never have, although I guess that like the archangels were scary and aliens might be scary, and therefore they might be the same.
She also said that aliens are God's workers.
So archangels are aliens is what we're going for. I mean, that might not be wrong. I mean, like, it depends on what your definition of alien is. I mean, if we really broaden our definition of alien, then like an angel would qualify, yes, because they're not. I mean, is alien just not from Earth? Because that's a really broad definition. So
I'm still kind of always I'm more drawn to the aliens are like fae or fairies path. But I mean I also think that like it could be all these things. Like why not?
Well, that's the thing. There's no way to know that you're right, so you might not be wrong. I also am a big proponent when you were talking about the amber earlier and like rubbing the amber on or like amber leading to the discovery of electricity. Like it seems like in the past people were just doing weird shit and then they were like, it works, it's science. So like who knows if any of this is like why not just go out into the woods and do weird shit, because it is also a science technically. Like who know, like you might be right.
Yeah. Garrett, what?
Well, it's just that whole thing about like how people sometimes see this stuff through like the cultural context that they understand it, you know? So like if you were raised understanding angels, then maybe you see it as angels, or if you saw it as fairy, you know. But I've been wondering about that lately with UFO, what we're doing with like the kind of like the pulling, you know, we're doing these Estes method, and there's like the whole thing about snacks, for example. You know, it's like these things want snacks, and that's almost like a little like, I don't know what to call this. It's almost like it's part of a costume that whatever this thing is can speak to us using that, because we're giving it like some of like the you know, like it gives it like, do you know, ever seen Little Monsters when like the monsters get the light shine on them and then they turn into like a sack of clothes? You remember that movie? And then when they turn off, like that sack of clothes is our what we're generating through WUFO. And then when we turn the lights off, then they can kind of fill it in, you know? And so we're like giving it like the form it can take. And so like through like kind of creating little myths and like, you know, pulling this stuff out of our subconscious. I don't know, I've just been wondering about that lately, about like intentionally like seeking out new forms that it can take for us. I don't know, you know what I mean? Instead of like this traditional alien or angel or fairy thing, like something else. Using our subconscious and our like group collective like imagination stuff. Anyway, sorry, that's a weird tangent, but
no, that's cool. That's awesome. And that's like
there's that episode of Star Trek where the race speaks entirely in like metaphors. Their entire language.
Yes.
And that's what it makes me
what's it called? Shaka won the wealth. Yeah, exactly. Totally. If no one's ever seen that episode, you should go check that out. It's amazing. Yeah. Like if you've never seen an episode of Star Trek, that one is the one to watch, I think.
Yeah. Well, that and the entirety of Deep Space Nine. The entirety.
I'm on Team Deep Space Nine with you. Kara, what you were talking about makes me think of Joshua Cushin's book. It's like Impossible Feast or something like that, or Trojan Feast. I'll figure out what it is, but it's all about like food through myth, fairy, Bigfoot. Like there is this thread that kind of goes through all of these different, I mean, because we tell stories to try to understand the world, right? And to kind of pass down that knowledge and understanding from generation to generation. So the fact that there's this constant kind of offering of food, this gifting of food to something that is non-human. Yes, it is Trojan Feast. Like that does seem to be something that seems nearly universal. And so, yeah, I think there is something to the idea that, you know, depending on all the different peoples, like all of the different components of the ecosystem, those entities might look like a Sasquatch in one place. They might look like a leprechaun in another place. They might look like a UFO, and you know, like and like, yeah, maybe sometimes it looks like Zeus or something like that. yeah, I think that that is quite possible that the lenses that we see the world through kind of are filtering a similar thing, just into fracturing it into different color spectrums, like a prism.
I do have to say, that idea is so awesome. But I've also read some valid concerns about it leading to like colonial interpretations of indigenous traditions. Like, oh well, what it's in many ways similar to like what the Catholic Church did when it would go into pagan countries and kind of say like, oh well, this isn't Hermes, this is like Saint John the Baptist. I mean, this just substitute Saint John the Baptist. We're just seeing it through different lenses. That's all. And it kind of like, which I don't think is what you were suggesting in any way, but just as another facet of the conversation. How much of like a culture or community's intrinsic characteristics create a distinction between what these entities might be in each culture. Like I had a really amazing conversation recently. I can't remember if I talked about it or not. We had somebody come and cut down our holly tree, which I know I've mentioned. And the head of the team was like, "Oh, I saw your Sasquatch sticker on your car. I love it." I was like, "Oh yeah, thanks. You ever seen one?" And then he launched into how, he is a member of an indigenous community. He was telling me a lot of stuff that I'm probably, I don't want to share it because I didn't get his permission to share it. But regardless, I can't honestly ever say comfortably that like what he saw, what the entities were he were seeing, were the same ones that I'm seeing through a different lens. Which doesn't mean that they're not. Like it's still that they could be, but I like to kind of try and include that perspective in this conversation when it comes up. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think that's super important. Yeah, I think as the nerdy people we are, it's tempting to like try to find a book about a thing, but it's also important to respect the fact that writing a book about a thing, one, isn't necessarily the traditional way of passing down knowledge, and two, like not all knowledge systems are open systems. Like sometimes stuff isn't for us. So even though though we're tempted to kind of look at things that anthropologists have written or other resources that have been gathered from outsiders from that community, yeah, it's a really good reminder that none of that really can be a true depiction probably, of what you can understand by being part of that culture.
Right. Yeah, totally. But I mean, even Valet spent a lot of time talking about the similarities between abduction encounters and the Blessed Virgin Mary apparitions. So there's definitely something to that idea that like, there's, if you read I think it's the one at Lourdes, I think is in one of his books. And I can't remember if it was Messengers of Deception or what, but anyhow, it describes the experience that the children had when they were seeing the Blessed Virgin, of like the sun moving around in the sky and, balls of light flying by and, apparitions that only certain people, and it's like identical to the way that many UFO abductees, talk about the encounters that they have too. So there is something there.
Yeah.
And the more you look at like, as part of this, I've been taking a course in Italian folk traditions, and a lot of those go way back, like, you know, 1,000, you know, we're talking like 2000 BC. And a lot of the work that they do with like plant spirits and talking to the spirits and communicating with these kind of entities is really similar to what is going on here at WUFO. Like dream incubation and snacks and offerings, and, you know, so it's part of something. So I don't know. We also talk a lot, the Italians.
Yeah, I'm like half Italian, half Irish, so like all I do is talk. No, but it does. I mean, like, I don't. At least to me, it's always kind of felt like a situation where, because everything gets sort of interpreted by your own brain, you're going to put whatever on top of it that is in your head at the moment. But you do, I think, have to be careful to not ascribe that same meaning that you have to everybody else. Like I have been, I'm like obsessed with David Farrier right now. He's like my obsession of the moment. And I just watched all of his documentaries, and he had recommended a documentary on one of the podcasts that he was on about simulation theory. So then I ended up on this rabbit hole, down this rabbit hole about simulation theory. And something that was both interesting and really kind of a turnoff about simulation theory to me was that some people think that like everybody's in the simulation and so that everybody is real. But some people think that the way that simulation theory works is that like whatever simulation we're in, like 90% of the people around them are like NPCs, and there's only like 10% of people that are real people. And that's when that's when you skip into something that's really problematic. Like whenever you're saying that your experience is the experience and that everybody else out there, like you're like putting your own lens or your own life on top of that, or that once somebody else becomes an NPC, anybody else, that's when things really, I think, get troublesome. Like people don't just turn off when they're off your screen, essentially. Yeah.
That makes me think of Jasper Ford is this really quirky, lovely British author who's written a couple of different series of books, but his Thursday Next detective series books partially takes place in like the world of books. Like one of the characters can read herself into books, but there's a conversation about like what it feels like to be a character when you're not being read. Because the way that they kind of describe the way that books work is like when somebody picks it up, like they're like there and ready to like act out the scenes. And when nobody's reading the book, you're just kind of like wandering around aimlessly and bored. Like, so it's interesting to think about, yeah, like perceiving other humans as if like, oh yeah, when you're not paying any attention to them, they just don't exist.
They just aren't there. Yeah, it seems very narcissistic to me. We do have an ongoing joke in the house that my roommate's rescue dog Choco, that it's his simulation. So then we got mad at him for creating capitalism. We were like, how dare you? Like, if this is your simulation, how dare you create capitalism?
That's hilarious.
But you know, there's so many theories that I find that are so interesting. And like in something like simulation theory, then who knows? Like maybe cryptids are just programmed in for fun. But I don't think that that's. Ooh, I got another drink. Hold on. I'm gonna. Oh, she just put it out. Oh, there's a dog. Sorry. But God, what was I saying? Like I don't think that that's the way that I mean, like I can maybe ascribe to a part of simulation theory and that we don't know what's going on. We can maybe describe it like it's a computer, but I don't think it's like somebody else is in, like I don't think there's like one person or whatever that's in control of it, like programming it. That was a tangent that I don't know where it went. Also, I think a dog just got thrown into my room, so I'm gonna go pick him up.
I 100% think that Choco is in charge of everything.
I think if it's anybody's simulation, I'm gonna go. Who got thrown into my room, so he will be here in a second.
Yay!
Oh, come here. Hi.
What do you think of simulation theory, Garrett?
I really don't know that much about it.
Yeah, just like being in the Matrix and Philip K. Dick stuff.
Yeah, that's not. I don't know. That doesn't interest me. I think personally, but I haven't dug into it. So, I was trying to think of that. There's that Jacques Vallée thing about Melchizedek. Is that what it's called?
Melchizedek, yeah.
I don't have it on me, but he wrote this thing about something about how he had this experience where he was studying Melchizedek or something, like some kind of, I can't remember. That's like a prophet or something. Something.
It was a priest. He was an ancient priest. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the Old Testament priest.
And he was doing something about that, and he's this famous UFO writer that we've been mentioning. And then Jacques Vallée,
not Melchizedek.
And he got into like a cab in LA, and he noticed his cab driver's last name was Melchizedek, and he was like, there is no he looked in the phone book, there was no other people with that last name except for this taxi driver that he happens to be in there with, and he's been studying this ancient priest or whatever. And so he was talking about, he's also like a computer science person, and he was talking about how like storing data in a computer, you may not store it in kind of linear ways. You may store it in ways that make it access quicker
in chunks, like
So he was talking about how like coincidences are that kind of strange way that things are stored. This was basically he was talking about. If you should look up this little story he told about it, it's pretty fascinating, I thought. But
Melchizedek, yeah.
Cutie. I don't know. I definitely I could see the problem with the kind of like, what's that, solipsism? I don't know how to say that. Like the kind of
solipsism.
Like, is that like that kind of narcissistic, like, oh, everything that's happening is meant to be happening for me or something, or like I'm the center of all that. And I think that is something you have to definitely be careful about with all this. But also I think
I'm sorry, go ahead.
But I think there is some, I don't know. I mean, and what you said, Jeremy, too, having to be kind of careful about like putting labels on other people's like beliefs and understandings of things. But I do think there's something about that, like, I don't know what that is, like that kind of play thing where you like putting out the game pieces for whatever that is, and like playing a game with it, because we talk about that with like people going into haunted houses, and the kind of what you come there with, sometimes you get that that kind of experience reflected back at you. Like that's how you want to play, like if you're going in there like trying to like shoot the demons, you might get that kind of vibe back.
You might get demons.
Yeah, right. So I don't know what that is, and I don't claim to understand how it all works. I'm curious about that, though, kind of like as we're doing this WUFO thing, and like kind of I feel like we've been getting little things to that like try out, and kind of like setting up game pieces for us to use to kind of interact. That's what I'm curious about doing more of. So anyway.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, like I think like this is something that Tenny comes back to a lot. Like I think inherently, not to say that the universe is a simulation, because I don't think it's a simulation, but I do think that the universe does want to play, and that you get a lot more out of your experience of the world in general, even if you don't believe in like ghosts or whatever. But as soon as you greet the universe with like an open energy and just allow it to take you in like weird, like as soon as you allow it to play with you, then I think whatever energy you throw out is what you tend to get back. And so I do think that instinctively it just like it's why not treat life as a game anyway?
Yeah, I see you found the amber.
I found it.
Nice. That's beautiful.
Yeah, I've had it. It's kind of the only thing I have from my dad's mom. She passed before I got to meet her because she always lived in Denmark. So yeah, it's kind of a special little thing. It's fun. It was fun to hear like more. I didn't know all that stuff about Amber. I've been learning all sorts of things. I feel like it's like a weird sync week for like last week at WUFO. Everyone was like, we got to get back on the Duolingo train. So I've been reading my Danish. I've been doing my Danish practice. And I had completely forgotten this, but Hans Christian Andersen is actually from the same tiny island that my dad was born on.
Oh, cool.
Fune, which like has sent me down this whole weird rabbit hole, and I am really excited because I found a copy of Hans Christian Andersen that is both in English and in Danish, like side by side. So I'm gonna try reading some fairy tales in Danish.
Nice.
It feels like I've been on kind of a like connecting with my ancestors adventure. I got a subscription to Ancestry.com recently, and I've been learning more about my mom's side because I don't have a very good, strong relationship with that side of the family, and they don't really talk about their past anyway. So it's been really interesting to learn more concretely about where those folks are from too. Because, you know, the way that you don't appropriate other cultures' practices is you learn where you came from and dig into those practices. So I think that's not always easy, especially for like queer folks and weirdos, because your most immediate like bloodline relatives might feel like a not very great place to dig into. But I think it's important, especially as white folks, that we do our part to kind of work on healing that trauma in ourselves.
Totally. Yeah, I used to have like real issues with ancestor work because I was like, well, I know people who I'm related to who are still alive who are shitheads.
Yeah.
You know, but the more I looked into it and the more I'm like, oh, okay, like a lot of like, I think actually coming back to, I think John Tenney said it at one point, like part of a substantial portion of ancestor work is learning how to be a good future ancestor. Like it's not, you know, playing nice with jerks you were related to. It's recognizing that, you know, ancestor, you know, it doesn't mean you have to have kids.
Yeah.
You know, it just means, you know, what kind of legacy do you want to create? And I think that's like super overlooked. On that note, it is 10 o'clock.
Oh.
That went by fast. This is Choco, by the way. So if we're in a simulation, it is Choco's. He was rescued. My roommate rescued him in Korea, and I used to tell people that he speaks Korean until I had a supervisor that was like, wait, the dog speaks Korean. The dog does not talk out loud like a cartoon. But if you say sit to him in Korean, he will sit.
Wow. Wow.
But so she brought him home from Korea, and I would fully believe that if it's anyone's simulated, Choco's in chart, clearly. Okay, you're like,
that's an affirmative right there.
Yeah,
that's right.
Before we go,
go ahead.
Can you talk about the corn real quick?
Oh yeah,
the corn.
Yeah. Hang on. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
I want to hear about the corn.
Garrett, can you sing us the song?
I can't. Can you do it?
No, I've only heard it like halfway once. I only know about it because of all of the corn synchronicities nonsense.
I think Kai brought it up. I think I was the first person to bring up the corn in it because I accidentally grew up. Okay, so this is like I guess it's not that long of a story. We went on the Strange Escapes trip, and we had somebody watching Choco because he can't obviously look at him. He can't be by himself. He's a very irresponsible child. Yeah. But so I feed the animals in the area, and what I have is a big bag of like wild like animal feed basically, and I also deliberately feed the crows out in our front like on our front deck. So I feed the crows on the front deck and I feed the little furry animals in the back, so they get different food because the crows don't like the same food. But the wild animal feed, some of it is corn kernels, which I, being uneducated in corn, I just thought that like corn would take more to grow. I didn't know that you could get corn that like wouldn't grow. This is something that I've learned from Kai. So like next year I'm gonna have to like change my buying practices for what I get for like the furry animals. Because what it is I have a picnic table in the backyard that I have nailed into like a tree for the squirrels. So they get fed on their little picnic table. And so there's all this corn in this bag that we feed. But the crows, it turns out, are also like, they know me. They expect their food at the same time every day. So I have been feeding the crows every day. And we went on this Strange Escapes thing for like a week and a half. And then the crows got pissed because I like was not here to feed them. And our theory, because we don't know for sure, we don't know what happened. Our theory is that the babysitter who was babysitting Choco, like he's a baby, a dog sitter, I guess. The dog sitter, we think that she and her boyfriend just saw all these crows gathered on our front deck, like waiting for food, because that's what they do. They gather and then they're like, "Bitch, feed me." So we think that they just found my bag of like seeds and like wild like animal food and like threw them, because when we came back from Europe, there were corn kernels everywhere. They were just everywhere. They were all over our front like lawn. They were all over the driveway. They were like in all my planters. And so then at that point I was like, I'm just going to remix this because my plants had also died, right, while I was in Europe. So I was like, I'm just going to mix all this dirt back up and like replant my herbs. So I sprouted these herbs with my UFO water. And I put them all like in my little planter, which is painted with cryptids, by the way, because that's who I am as a person. And so then I just started watering these things, and I thought for a minute it was cilantro because I got all these sprouts all of a sudden with this UFO water, and these sprouts start to grow. And after like a week or two, I'm like, that's definitely not cilantro. That's like for sure. That's not cilantro. And it just kept growing. And it turns out that I had like sprouted all of this corn somehow that I had like mixed into the dirt that had ended up there accidentally. So like then I was watering with you. So now I have UFO corn, I guess, is the gist of this story, that I accidentally sprouted. And then my cilantro and my mint that I actually like intentionally sprouted weren't gonna grow. So but I didn't want to murder the corn, even though apparently corn, I shouldn't feel bad about murder. I didn't want to intentionally kill the corn, basically. So I dug this corn back out of my planters and I like replanted it. So now I have like 4 or 5 little things of like corn that I don't know what to do with, that apparently won't even turn to corn, because apparently if you like if you're growing corn, you need to like grow like a lot of corn. Like it has to be like all of the corn, like there, because the corn makes the other corn exist. I don't know quite how that works because I don't do plants, but like it won't even like turn into corn because there's not enough other corn here. So like now I've just got like corn sprouts that I guess needs like other, but so it's UFO corn that's not even really going to turn into corn. And meanwhile, I think I put this in the Discord the other day. I'm from Ohio, where Cornhenge is, which is like literally just a field of giant corn statues that they built as like a temple. I don't know, they wanted to commemorate the corn that used to be in that field. They didn't want to keep the corn in that field, but they wanted to remember the corn. So now it's like just a huge field of like 6 foot tall like concrete corn cobs that we used to play in when I was a child. So now, so like that's where I come from. That I'm that Midwest is that I used to play in a cornfield of like concrete gigantic corn cobs, but like not actual corn, like just. And I have all this like corn that I don't know what to do with. It's like not even technically like it's corn, but it's not going to turn into corn at this point. So I guess we could like make a tiny, but I would love to bring my UFO corn somewhere so that, or we should talk to it maybe. I don't know.
That's what I think we should do is we should get that corn on the plant talker.
Yeah.
Because it's weird to me that like you've been using UFO water and then you got this instantiation of corn that has no other purpose and it's not going to be corn. And we've been talking about corn with like series and like the whole cornfield thing and like Persephone and stuff. So like maybe this corn has something to tell us. I think we should.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I would be happy to bring it along so that we can hook it up. We can definitely make that. You're close enough so we can make that happen.
Yeah, we can figure it out. Yeah.
It has also, it has just dawned on me that like a bunch of, you know how like we're always like getting stuff about like gummy worms and sweets and like all of this stuff. You know what that's all sweetened with? Corn syrup. Like we've been on the corn journey this whole time and we just didn't know it.
What are Fruity Pebbles made out of?
Corn syrup. Just cooked like and crisped in and colored. That's it.
Wow.
The ultimate sacrament.
Is corn syrup also full of corn ghosts?
Oh my God, are there corn ghosts? Can somebody message Tenny right now and ask if corn ghosts are a thing?
And what does this mean about movie theater popcorn butter?
Yeah.
There's got to be something in there.
Garrett, what did you divine with your corn kernels?
Just the word, just it landed on the delete key. That's all I got.
Oh.
I think that might be a sign. It's time to go look for UFOs.
Yeah. Thank you both for coming and hanging out and for our first ever West Coast, East Coast WUFO. That was awesome.
Anytime.
Yeah.
This was wild.
Yeah, this was super fun.
Yeah, we need to get together and do a corn handoff and
yes.
And we'll do like some divination with it.
Yeah.
And there's so many things that we can do. We're also talking about going to find this mysterious potential Fae trap that's like a crystal store in
Seattle. Those signs are everywhere, and every time I see those signs, because there's never a name, there's no like name on half of them. They're just like, come this way for shiny things. Do you like crystals? Go this direction. And I'm like, that's how I'm gonna get. That's how the fairies get me. That's how I'm kidnapped. So
we're gonna go. We're gonna find a giant mushroom with like red and white spots, and somebody at the door like, you found us, and that's
and
it.
so
that's the last
when I saw that phone number, I was like, I'm not calling that by myself. I'm gonna disappear. So like I was just telling a friend of mine, I was like, I absolutely feel like I do better with like adult males with me, or like someone who for sure won't let me get kidnapped. And I feel instinctively like neither of you would let me get kidnapped, probably, if you could help it.
Well,
so,
you know.
The title of this episode has been Emily Needs an Adult.
It's true.
Oh man, you're in trouble then.
We'll figure it out. How do we get Bex back? Is Bex the adult? I don't know.
Seriously. Well, this has been a blast, y'all.
Yeah, let's convene on that. Yeah. Thanks everyone for hanging out.
Yep.
Go outside and look for UFOs.
And and Pisces, and let us know.
Okay, I'm gonna turn it off.